I need to do an intro real quick.
Okay.
Hello, yes, this is an intro. We're watching the Gift Day of Honor Nemesis. Okay, anyway, so how are things?
Good. Matt has, to the best of my knowledge, never seen an episode of the glorious Star Trek Voyager.
You're starting
Indeed
with
I
the
haven't.
episode where we're sexualizing a trauma victim? Why?
Oh, fun! Fun.
Why would you do
Is
that?
Man, I just like to put a disclaimer. I don't know what these episodes are in advance of the watch along most of the time.
We're gonna give 7 of 9 the cat suit.
Yeah,
Oh no.
where Star Trek Voyager, in my mind, is sort of this like hot soup of
A suit so
90s
tight that the actress
sci-fi.
literally passed out multiple times because she couldn't breathe.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh no.
And she's a lifelong trauma victim, and that's her introduction. There you go. That's Star Trek. Thanks, Rick Berman.
That's Rick Berman Star Trek. Star Trek is
Yeah.
Star Trek of this era can be pretty cringe, but it's usually, well, I don't know if I'd say usually,
This,
but
if
it
you,
can do
if
a
you
lot
see
better.
anything endlessly distasteful, it's Rick Berman's fault.
It is Rick Berman's
Okay.
fault. Rick Berman was the producer and the devil incarnate.
Okay.
Star Trek is, frankly, I'm kind of shocked it's as good as it is, considering how the half of its producers were evil.
Oh, what other ones? Rick Berman was evil. Ira Stephen Bear seems cool. Who else was evil?
Gene Roddenberry was evil.
Well, was he evil or was he just like, overly interested in people's genitals?
That counts as also he was just really hard to work with. If you watch the documentaries and the behind the scenes from season 1, it's mostly just the writers complaining about how impossible it was to work with Gene Roddenberry.
Look, it's a good show, I promise.
Just don't watch the first season or half the episodes in all
Don't
subsequent
worry about the
seasons.
troubling implications of some of the scenes.
This is one hell of an introduction.
Yeah. It's just
Look, man, it's not my fault you jumped in on the sexualizing a trauma victim episode.
What was? He was thinking about coming last week, but he was busy. Where we had the we had the evil computer ghost, and that haunts fan fiction the crew wrote about themselves, and the Borg episode, which is one of
Are you familiar with the Borg, Matt?
Familiar broadly with the concept of them.
Yeah, they
I know
abduct
they
people,
fly around
mutilate
in
them,
the giant-
bring them to a hive mind.
Yeah, the cybernetic
Yeah.
hive mind that sticks needles in your arms and turns you into a robot.
Yeah, they're the assimilate dude.
Yeah.
Where's everybody
So-
else?
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Anyway, they usually show up later. It's fine. So one of the characters we just got last episode is a Borg, and they just got them on the ship, which seems totally safe.
Oh.
So if you see someone
Right.
that looks scary, that's the trauma victim we're about to mess with.
Yeah,
Oh.
they've been a Borg since they were like 7. They're a big
Yeah.
fan of the Borg.
It's very comforting, the hive mind. You get all the endorphins, you get some serotonin.
You'll never be lonely. Everyone's your friend.
Oh.
But
No,
at the
that
same time,
sounds
everyone's
really
also you.
nice.
You get to achieve
be-
perfection.
I will be right back.
Okay. The Center Seat documentary? What's the Center Seat documentary? Why are they talking about
Oh.
that?
Hello?
I
Okay. Yep, I shifted to an iPad with earplugs.
Okay.
Ryan, do you wanna
Same.
start the thing?
What thing?
The final
countdown?
Unity, Let's Play that we had scheduled for
I
today.
already did that.
The,
Hang on,
the-
press
the
play
Star
in
Trek-
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We already played a Final Unity. It was
We
weird.
still got to play 2013 Star Trek video game
Oh, God, it's not okay.
with the Gorg.
So this is Borg architecture.
It's very stylish.
Very pretty.
The Borg don't believe in epilepsy, so there will be a lot of flashing lights.
Okay, well, it's good that I don't have epilepsy.
This is the cozy Borg living quarters where they like to
They
drink
regenerate.
green tea. Yeah, they
Oh.
drink green tea and they read the Atlantic magazine.
Stare into the
that
plasma
looks-
ball.
Sounds cozy. Are you sure the Borg are the bad guys? They sound
there
like
she is.
pleasant folks so far.
They had other Borg on the ship, but then they flushed them all out into space.
Now,
Oh.
Borg outfits are usually very bulky.
Mm-hmm.
They have lots of
They're
tubes and
covered in-
wires across them.
They're covered
Mhm,
in like
mhm.
those old USB 1
Yeah.
cables.
Not the case with her because of Rick Berman.
Right, because of course, if you have a woman, then
Well, no, there's tons of women Borg. It's just they're not main characters.
oh, I see. I see.
The person in the front is the captain. The guy in the middle is from the 29th century and uses
No, he's
his
not.
like stabilizing thing on the arm to like keep him in this time. And like if you ever see him dematerialize, it means he's going back to the future's future.
Liar.
And the guy in the yellow shirt is known for his roles in several children's sitcoms and
Oh, now she's going to freak out because she's been separated from the only family she's known her whole life. That was abusing her the whole time, but still.
Ryan, can you imagine what this would be like if Matt didn't come and it was you and me for the whole thing?
What's wrong with that?
I thought I'm
Is
just
us
imagining.
not enough?
Well, I mean, I'd be cool with it, but you would have to deal with me for 3 hours.
Would get me to
Oh,
play Star
no.
Trek 2013.
And Earview isn't here to save you.
So yeah, she doesn't really have individuality. They're going to work on that. Still sorting out her pronouns.
You get
Oh.
really bad headaches when you get separated from the hive mind.
Yeah, I hate when that happens. Would it be possible to turn the volume on the thing up a little bit?
You should be able to right-click on it. Also, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not streaming anything to you. But you know, if I were streaming something to you, you could right-click on it and
Okay.
increase the volume,
Oh,
I think.
okay. Oh, I don't know if I can do that on iPad.
Give me a minute. Let's see. Discord, increase volume of stream.
Yeah, you right click it and yeah,
Which
I don't
I'm
know how
not
to do
streaming.
it
That's
on the
crazy.
phone.
I don't know why you would think that.
This is the Voyager.
No.
Yes, it is.
Why in the cold open was Voyager all Borgified? I don't remember them doing that last
Because
episode.
it was they Borgified it in the last episode. They still have
Did
to
they?
unborgify it. Yeah, they put all the pointies on it.
So it says tap anywhere on the stream and an options bar will appear near the bottom. Oh, this is for phone. Stupid phone
Oh boy,
instructions.
here comes the tiny planet we talk about every week.
Ooh. So who's the captain at this point? Is this Kirk?
Captain
Picard?
Catherine Janeway.
There's the tiny planet, Matt. Look at the tiny planet. Notice how the
The
planet has got to be
reflection is.
tiny.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Thanks for pointing it out.
Oh, there's
And
tons
this-
of little production errors like that all over the place.
The ship is really fancy, so the little warp engines fold up like that when they go to warp, even though
It has to flap its wings to fly.
yeah, even though it's completely unnecessary for the engines not to be folded up like that all the time because
They're never down at warp. They never. What's the
yeah,
point?
yeah, like they only use them when they go to light speed.
Hmm.
They don't need to fold up like that. You can just leave them like that. They do nothing when they are unfolded.
You have to do it for the aesthetic.
It looks like it can go faster.
Then why didn't they paint it red? Why is everything just gray?
This is Kess. She's
Psychic. She has
going to,
magic powers.
and she's going to die in this episode.
No, only a little bit. Only her physical
Say-
body's gonna die. It's fine.
Because she's getting replaced with Seven because we're halfway through the show and the ratings on this thing have just tanked, and so they're trying to introduce a new character that's way cooler.
Oh yeah, and she's
So
4 years old,
is-
and she was
Yeah,
dating
and
the
she's-
Hobbit.
And she's 4 years old and she's Hobbit feet, and we haven't. Testin wasn't necessarily a bad idea for a character, but like the Kess centric episodes weren't spectacular. We had the weird foot massage episode.
All
we
the
had
Kess
boiling-
episodes were just her abusive boyfriend being controlling and jealous. She
We
didn't
got the
really get a
boiling-
chance.
We got the boiling Tuvok episode.
That's the
we
captain,
got-
Captain Janeway.
Yeah, that's the captain.
Okay.
Kathy.
That's Commander Chakotay. He's like the worst character in the whole franchise.
Her on and off love interest, kinda, sorta, for like 3 episodes.
The writers never figured out what the heck his character was, and he's supposed to be indigenous, but their indigenous consultant was a fraud. So it's just bullshit.
It's a good show, really.
Really? That's very reliable right there.
He likes to say, Akuchi Moya, we are far from the bones of our people.
Yeah, he has that tattoo that means nothing. He's from
No,
unspecified...
it has deep meaning. That's the symbol of an alien race that visited Earth and made the Native Americans believe in them as gods.
He's from a tribe that's never, ever specified.
They're from space. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
There
Why
she
is
is.
there
There's
that
the
much,
bold lady.
like, information down for, like, a 7-year-old? Like, who at the Federations is, like...
Look, Starfleet
going through
database
everyone's
is very
Facebook?
thorough.
They have the database of every single one of their, like, the hundreds of billions of people who have ever lived
Oh,
on
another
every
fun
single
fact.
ship.
The ship is constantly reading everyone's brainwaves. All the time.
How does that work again, Ryan? I forgot that one.
It works very well. Thanks for asking.
There's all this apocrypha you just sort of pick up. All these things they do to make the setting work. That have
Things they introduce for one episode to make a plot point work, and then if you think about it, its implications for the other episodes, it's kind of horrifying.
the ship. I think it is supposed to clean itself, but we never see that happening.
We do in Discovery,
Um,
eventually.
Oh yeah, when we have the
They have
when
cute
we have
little
the
Roombas.
technology to
Floating
put it on
Roomba.
screen, but yeah, the new shows they suggest that there's little Roombas that go around, but those were never seen, even though
Yes, they were.
this
What are you
one's
talking about? The
supposed-
dots.
well, not in these shows when the
Oh, yeah, not in
technology
these
is
shows,
supposed
no.
to be more advanced because this is in the future.
Well, all the shows are in the future. Did Matt leave? Why is Matt muted? Why doesn't he like us anymore?
We made him watch Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah, basically. No, I was actually cutting my mustache.
What? How do you live your life, dude? Who watches TV and cuts their mustache?
Ryan, this is not TV. This is Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah. I actually have a really hard time just sitting down and doing nothing, or just sitting down and watching something like this. So I'm keeping my hands busy while I'm watching.
Okay.
I do a similar thing, Ryan, where when we do these streams, I like to hack into your webcam and watch you.
That's very impressive considering the only webcam I own is unplugged and in a drawer.
Yeah, it's because I'm really good.
Wow, that's very impressive.
I believe it.
In fact, is it even in my drawer? I haven't used it in a long time. I don't even know where it is for sure. Oh yeah, here it is. Found it.
Yeah.
Oh, not only is it
Don't-
unplugged in a
don't-
drawer, it also has the cover on.
Yeah, don't throw it out, or else I won't be able to cyberstalk you anymore.
God, you couldn't have showed him like Measure of a Man or Best of Both Worlds or something as the first episode?
No. You don't start them off on the good episodes. You start them
If
off
you
on the
can't
bad
handle Star Trek at
episodes.
its worst, you don't deserve Star Trek at its best.
Or if you can't handle Star Trek at its below average.
Okay, yeah, it's
you-
not. Retroclear. I don't know if these are real medical terms or they're making up sci-fi stuff.
Don't you know the trochlear nerve? It's in the amygdala, and
Hang
it's
on, I'm looking
critical
it up.
for
Ah, no,
like
it's a real thing.
it's for
Uh-huh.
it controls the functions of like
It handles the superior oblique muscle of the eye.
yeah.
Oh, it makes it so superior.
That is not how Borg dress, Seven. That is not. You're not in uniform.
How come you can see her chest move even though like when she breathes, even though it's supposed to be made out of like metal?
Don't worry about that. Let me get a picture of a typical Borg for comparison.
Okay.
Hugh's good.
This is-
There, I just sent you in Discord a more usual Borg.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
There's another one. He was pretty cool. He's a good Borg.
Nice.
The guy from the blue shirt, he isn't really entirely from the future. He's just like this. He's like
He just
like
has
that-
accessories from the future.
it has.
Mm.
He's like a piece of software that comes with your computer.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Of course.
and he can just casually replicate like highly advanced artificial organs. Just 'cause
Unless it's
he's-
Neelix.
Unless it's Neelix.
Because nobody likes Neelix. Even the Doctor.
Yeah.
Neelix is the one
He-
who was emotionally abusing his 4-year-old girlfriend, by the way.
Neelix is the cannibal.
Is this the actor or the character?
The character. The actor's
Okay.
cool. He's fine.
Okay. All right. 'Cause
And Neelix maybe gets better after Kess explodes and he doesn't have
After
a
the subject
girlfriend
of
to
his
abuse
abuse
anymore.
literally leaves the ship.
Yeah, but he's still, let's say, a controversial character.
I
But
see.
that's just because he's like
Like that time he
He ma-
merged bodies with a guy who hates him and was like, I like myself now. And then they murder him.
he's a whole thing. He has his own vibe.
I don't know if he's
Yeah.
even in this episode.
It would be absolutely fantastic if he's not at all in the episode where his love interest explodes.
Seven's wearing like duct tape in like silver paint or something.
It's medical duct tape. It's from the future. Don't worry about it.
Give her like a trauma blanket or something. Come on, guys.
If we're like a holographic dog,
She looks horrifying They do a really good job. Didn't they win an award for like makeup in this episode or something?
No, they won an award for makeup and Threshold.
Oh, okay. Well, this is no
Only
less.
episode to win an Emmy,
This
which
is
makes
no
it the
less.
best episode.
Yes, Threshold. Matt, you should watch Thresholds. It's so
Threshold
good.
is a
Threshold?
fantastic episode.
Thresholds.
It really transcends television.
All
It's the
right.
one where they go so fast they turn into lizards.
Excuse me, they're salamanders.
They got an Emmy for the unforgettable shot where like the actor like reaches into his mouth and pulls out his own tongue.
Because he's in the process of
Oh.
turning into a salamander.
Yeah, as we all know, salamanders don't have tongues. And then he turns the captain into a salamander, and then they hook up and have babies that are salamanders, and they
And
just
they
leave
just
them on
ditch the
some
babies,
moon.
leave them to die on a planet.
Yeah.
Salamanders actually do have tongues?
Yeah?
Are you saying that Star Trek Voyager isn't scientifically accurate?
You know, I don't know the show well enough to.
Is this a good introduction?
Say,
That's a bad.
but-
That's a bad episode to start with. Don't start with that.
Are there what is a good Voyager episode to start with? Is it the first one?
No, this is great stuff.
Yeah, the pilot of Voyager is actually pretty good, except for the bit where Janeway makes a really stupid decision.
Yeah, we should mention, yeah, the premise of the whole show is they're like on the opposite side of the galaxy.
Yeah, they're
And
trapped.
they're like, yeah, they're
It's-
trapped, and they're like,
It's like Lost in Space.
yeah, and
the
they're trying to
90s.
get home for like the whole show.
It's
Danger,
Battlestar
Will Robinson.
Galactica, but with no consequences.
Yeah,
Oh.
they have extremely scarce supplies, except they never run out of anything. They're limited.
It's fine.
To
They
supply of,
occasionally
like,
mention the word rations. That's all you need.
they have only like 120 photon torpedoes to use, even though
They
they
launch
launch
300.
Like, yeah, they launch like 150 over the course of the show. Same thing with like their little shuttlecrafts.
What?
They only have like 4, but then they have
Oh,
like 10
22
shuttlecraft
Cochrane's in
crashes.
Rising. Cochrane is the guy who invented the warp drive.
I thought that.
And he was a drunkard.
Yeah.
He had a medical issue with substances.
Did he? I don't know if he did.
Addiction's a medical thing. You don't have to call him a drunk.
But he was a drunk.
He had.
I don't think he had an alcohol addiction. I think he was just freaking out because his dream was dying in front of him.
Yeah, and
He was
because aliens
self-medicating.
from the future were trying to like destroy the human race.
Don't you people pee in the 24th century?
The
Oh, yeah,
Borg
no,
could have
they
destroyed the
don't
human
keep-
race so easily. They could have just sent 2 ships
Yeah. Anyway,
out of millions.
Um,
Come on.
they what was I saying?
You are my
Updates every hour
sunshine.
doesn't sound very efficient.
Here we go.
Oh, this is the
7
best.
of 9 is here.
We go beyond the subatomic.
That doesn't mean anything.
I'm just
But-
saying, if I was Tuvok, I would stop meditating with Cass after that time she boiled me alive.
Yeah, Tuvok. Okay, Tuvok the Vulcan here. He's a little bit psychic, so he's trying to help her be more psychic. And she boiled his blood one time on accident. Wasn't
Yeah, and
very
she like melted
happy
his
about that.
face off.
Yeah, he got better. It's fine.
Yeah, he was better by the end of the episode. Don't worry about it.
By the next scene, dude.
You said you were a newt. Well, I got better.
Fire isn't really atoms. It's just heat.
Are
You
we
know-
ready to boil?
But if you ever wanted to see what beyond the quantum level looked like, the show shows us right here.
Yeah.
1995's idea of what that looks like.
Yeah.
Look,
1995 CG.
Look,
you know,
guys,
we're still trying to.
Fire looks like Cocoa Puffs. Don't ask questions.
We're still trying to figure out what happens when we smash subatomic particles together. It's kind of fun.
You end up with more subatomic particles. Then you have to start the cycle all over again.
You end up with like a shower of data that takes up hundreds.
Did
of
you
gigabytes.
did you ever see the story about the guy who was inside of a particle accelerator when they turned it on.
Yeah. So that's what happens to Kess is Jean Grey, so she's not to be messed with right now.
It's a well documented fact that when you smash subatomic particles together, this results in a reaction which gets you more funding from the European community for nuclear research.
Well, she's bending the fabric of reality, and he's like, "Are you sure you're supposed to be doing that?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm just bending the fabric of reality."
You did melt my face off like a couple weeks ago. I'm a little concerned. Every other session we have results in you breaking physics and my bones.
This suit is so painful for Jerry Ryan.
But it's so worth it.
What?
It establishes the character for sure. Because this is body horror. Like, I mean, we've
Oh
talked
no
about
no no no! I'm talking about the silver suit.
the cat suit.
So this is Balana. She's half Klingon, half human, and she has severe childhood trauma she hasn't confronted yet. That's later.
This is Harry Kim. He's the sexiest man on board. That's the only reason he hasn't died. Except he has
No, he
died.
has died.
He has died once.
He got better.
But he
kind
got
of.
better.
No, he's died twice.
He's died
He's died
twice?
twice.
What was the other time?
There was the time.
When
Well,
he was emanations.
yeah, the asteroid people.
I don't
When they
remember
were-
that one. Alright, so I guess he's died twice.
Except that
He's
other one
never-
wasn't this Harry Kim. That was a different Harry Kim.
He's
Different quantum universe energy signature.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Last week I wasn't here, but I know you guys saw the episode where Harry Kim gets punched by species A472 and he starts getting digested by the cells that transferred from species A472.
And then we cut for the season, and then Garrett Wong gets sexiest man, and then they bring him back, and he's fine.
Yeah, but like in season 6, he's once again on a Borg cube with Commander Tuvok, and he's all apprehensive, and Commander Tuvok was like, "What's the problem, Harry Kim? Or you have some bad experience on a Borg cube before?" And Harry Kim is like, "No, not at all." And it's like,
both of
did
you
we
were
forget?
there.
Exactly.
So
Shoot her. Shoot 7.
They couldn't have given the security contingent for their new Borg pet.
Starfleet communications are routed through those little PCI nodes like you have in your computer to receive Wi-Fi. They use those to communicate across interstellar distances.
So Cass is leaving. Jerry Ryan's coming.
Yeah,
Well, we
so
have-
for this episode, Kess is just gonna fix all of their problems using her big brain.
I mean, she's doing her own Jean Grey thing.
What are we looking at here? What's happening?
Oh, you can have like a leak in your house where like the water gets behind the paint and it
But it
starts
was
pooling in there.
not Durasteel. What's the Star Trek word? Duranium.
Duranium and tritanium.
Durasteel is the Star Wars one.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone's favorite. I got to see that firsthand at my cousin's house because he
cool.
he thought he fixed the toilet upstairs, but he didn't, and it was leaking. In the living room, there was a giant bubble in the ceiling filled with
Yeah.
water.
That's basically
Cool.
what Kess did. Unlicensed contracting.
It's amazing how the latex paint can hold together like that.
Hmm.
God, this is a long hallway. That was a continuous shot. Oh, they just reached the end of it, so they had to cut. Okay. You might
least you
notice
can't
as you're watching
tell
Star Trek
because
that they'll very frequently have characters walking down a hallway. Then they'll just cut and they're back at the start of the hallway because they ran out of hallway.
Yeah, they'll stop walking so they can cut and then they'll start again.
It was worse in later DS9 when you could tell where the end of the hallway was because the lights
It's so
changed.
obvious.
Yeah, there's just a matte painting.
Yeah.
The station's lighting is
The matte
orange, and
paintings
then
have
the
the
matte
different colored
painting's all
lights.
blue, so you can just see it.
Is it
People
the other
were
way
not
around though?
watching
I think it was the other way
Maybe,
around.
I don't know.
on high definition television.
Because they haven't invented the blue LED yet. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to capture the signal over the airwaves, and it was good enough for
Like Seven, this is
me and your
not
grandpa.
human freedom because you get human freedom revoked when you commit human crimes.
If it was good enough for me, it was good enough for your pop.
Will the collective even care? Would they bother?
Probably not.
For one, I mean, it is a security breach. They don't really lose people like that.
They sent someone looking for Hugh, but that took like a couple weeks.
It might be the only angle I could think of is that maybe they would think that she's learned something useful to collect, but otherwise,
Yeah.
a single drone isn't a reason to go back.
They also usually
Borg-
disintegrate their drones.
And we also see Seven would have died, just straight up died. So not only is Borg surgery like impossible to reverse, but
except when they reverse it systemically.
the issue with like
In this episode and later episodes.
Don't worry about
immune
that.
rejection and transplants and getting out all the nanoprobes, it's really not doable. And then plus the psychological stuff here too. So it's like you'd rather curl up and die than like be an individual again.
Other than the cat suit, this episode actually isn't that bad.
Nah, it's fine.
It's a great episode. It makes you like love her character and empathize with someone. But so I brought up the analogy of like a heroin addict or something last time because they don't want to quit. But it also reminds me of I was reading a book about the Comanche Indians, Native Americans out west, and they had a giant horse equestrian empire. And also their idea of empire was a lot more fluid than what we think of as like a straight up border. So often they would have like trading influence or some kind of other military influence. It doesn't mean you had like an empire with borders. But anyway, they were actually racially colorblind, and they would kidnap you even if you were white or black or Spaniard or another Native American tribe. And when you came back, let's say you were white and you came back to your white family, you would still keep up the ways of the Comanche.
Hey, it's Neelix.
Neelix! This is the abuser.
This is the Neelix. This is.
And his 4-year-old ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, his 4-year-old ex-girlfriend.
Oh, their current.
Oh, so Ryan, that joke I was talking
joke?
about, the joke I said that I was gonna have to wait until we got to season 6. I really don't want to wait.
Well, what's the joke?
Okay.
In The Haunting of Deck 12, 7 of 9 asks Neelix to watch over the Borg children while the ship is shut down.
No!
Dang it.
And,
Dang it.
And,
No.
and she says, you have considerable childcare experience. And I was like, is she referring to the 2 years he dated Kes?
Jesus Christ.
You are my sunshine.
Yeah,
No,
Kes
no
is
singing.
4 years old, but
How old was she when they started dating? Was she 1 or 2?
7. Yeah, but which
She seemed to be under 1, actually.
yeah. But
You're asking how much is that in no comping years?
yeah, so when you think about it on its face, it doesn't sound that bad, but then we think about it for like a little more, considering that they started dating before the show started.
Right. She was like 14 or 15, like in human years.
No, that's so gross.
Yeah, this is why we don't like Neelix.
Okay, but she's able
We're
to
sort of
see...
just here because Ryan decided to watch all of the Star Trek episodes.
I don't think any regular 3-year-old can see the distinction between like, atomic and subatomic. She's obviously not a typical 12-year-old.
Oh, here's another fun fact about their dating life. Kes broke up with him while she was possessed by an evil space ghost, and then she realized after the space ghost left that she actually was totally happy with that, and she ditched him.
Yeah. Well, good for her.
Couldn't have a moment of clarity.
Is she about to murder him?
There's a lot of good space ghosts in the franchise. Well, I mean, they're evil space ghosts, but they're pretty good. There's the evil space ghost that lives in the lantern that tries to seduce you before possessing your dead grandmother and shooting lightning out of her fingers.
God, it's so
As you do.
weird.
There was what else? There are the creepy kid space ghosts. There's the prison planet space ghosts. Kess is going to become a space ghost. Kess is a future space ghost.
You know, I got into like a lot of like 90s new age meditation stuff. So like put on a bioneural frequency of 10 hertz, makes your brain to the alpha wave state. But being into Voyager and Akuchi Moya, it encouraged all of that weird stuff.
Star Trek Voyager leads to new age medicine.
You were encouraged by a scam artist?
No, I mean, it's your brain does like, when you're in delta wave, you're in like deep sleep. So there are waves and there are frequencies that work on your brain. It's
I'm
just
not sure about that. That doesn't sound right.
And you
mean-
can't really induce it well. Also, I think what we really, I think there needs to be more discussion of Borg nanoprobes and alternative medicine.
Borg nanoprobes solve everything. They can even induce
Borg-
delta waves.
Yeah.
Borg
Hey,
nanoprobes
they
really
use,
Borg
can't.
they use
nanoprobes.
nanoprobes to reanimate Neelix. How come no
Yeah,
other
after he
member of the
dies.
crew gets the
It's
same
fine.
service?
Maybe they
I'm
do.
not certain about the whole delta wave thing. Like meditation, I'm sure can be helpful for a lot of things.
Just chill out for a bit, yeah?
In the last episode, they used Borg nanoprobes to defeat this extra dimensional horror that the Borg couldn't fix, even though the Borg had like Borg nanoprobes.
All of the
whole time, 'cause
nanoprobes?
because they invented them, and like they weren't in. The procedure wasn't even that complicated. Like the the doctor just invented them off screen in like a few hours. And the
Mhm.
doctor is like a piece of obsolete software that comes into a cereal box.
Okay.
They're only using him because they haven't been space dock in years.
So they can't get an
And,
update
like,
to their software?
Yeah, there's a
He's the Windows
later
95 of
episode-
Starfleet.
Yeah,
There's no over the air update for the Doctor because they're too far away.
Yeah,
They have no
and
bars.
then in later episode you see like human systems basically where like they've taken all of their old copies of the Doctor hologram. They have them like working in coal mines.
Yeah, so Seven reminds me of like someone who doesn't want to go back to their tribe or
It's just a severe case of Stockholm Syndrome.
yeah.
Also, her name isn't 7 of 9, it's clearly 1 of 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So-
I do think she made a really good point regarding the whole like.
You're denying his choice?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's
That was
true.
interesting.
Janeway
Star
should
Trek is
absolutely have
extremely
said,
smart, except
if you want
for
to
the
go back,
times
you're
when
allowed
it's,
to go
like,
back.
overwhelmingly stupid. There's no middle ground.
So
Look, she's under the
in
influence.
Unimatrix Zero, the Queen locates one of the Unimatrix Borgs who has no memory of being a Unimatrix Borg, of course, and takes him and disconnects him from the collective and is interrogating him. And in every other instance where we had a disconnected Borg, they always refer to themselves as we or us. This
Oh,
one,
yeah.
who is freshly disconnected, like 5 seconds, is referring to themselves as I. I'm like, boy,
Yeah,
the writers
they
really
fucked up.
took a stumble.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
earlier, I kind of
that
wanted to
was bad.
say the behavior of the Borg in any situation, especially towards collecting other Borg drones and disposing of them, really depends on the plot. It seems pretty flexible. Their behavior seems to change depending on what's required
Never went
of the
back
story.
for the Borg in Antarctica.
Well, Well, they
They
didn't know
couldn't.
about the Borg in Antarctica because they were in Antarctica.
That's why the cube went to Earth in the first place. They weren't trying to assimilate Earth. They just wanted to get their bros back
Yeah.
because the message finally reached them.
Even though those bros were from the cube that they sent to retrieve them because it went
Yeah.
back in time. It's
I hate
paradoxical.
temporal mechanics.
Don't ask questions.
Janeway, don't get in the room with the Borg. What are you doing?
You never. Yeah, they always do that.
They have the guy standing outside the cell who points a TV
Is that the same
remote
guy
at
who
her.
got totally wrecked by Seven a minute ago?
Don't worry about it. He has the TV remote now. We'll just turn the show off if he gets attacked.
See, that's the thing. So, as much as we can try to bring up contemporary medical ethics, she's more like part of a cult, and someone might say, "Hey, I want to go back to the cult," but it's like,
The
no,
Borg
you
are
can't.
like the foils of the Federation because the Federation continuously expands and assimilates people.
In some ways, they're
This-
even worse than the Borg.
I mean, that is also
They have
that is
root
also
beer.
a really good point, though. Is that it does seem also like going back to a cult.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean they make that comparison often.
Like Charles Manson having the swastikas like carved into the foreheads of the cult members. I don't know if it was all of them, but there's something that just lets you know that, hey, you shouldn't let anyone you love join this.
Open flame on a
Who do you
starship?
think that bust is of?
Is that a Vulcan?
It looks like a Vulcan.
It looks like a Vulcan. It's got the Vulcan ears.
It must be Surak.
It could be Surai.
But didn't Sirach have longer hair? That guy's bald.
Maybe
It must
it's
be just like
maybe it's his dad.
essence of Vulcan statue, because that Vulcan has no hair.
That guy's Mr. Vulcan.
Yeah.
I looked up pictures of Sirach, and apparently there's the Lion Guard character named Sirach, which is a spin-off of the Lion King. I didn't know this existed. What is this? What's the Lion Guard? The
Something really
frequent
cool
skirmishes eventually culminated in a final battle which ended with the invader... What? The Night Pride teamed up with the Lion Guard to defeat an army... What?
Ryan, don't look too long at the deep canon.
Yeah.
You'll end up like Tuvok.
Why is this lion solid green?
So something that I really like about this arc is that you see how much Janeway tries to mentor each of her crew members, and she loves Cass, and she loves Seven, and she loves Harry.
Why is Sirach the
She
size of a
doesn't love
raccoon, but he has
Harry,
a
or else she'd
full-grown
give him
adult
a
lion mane?
promotion after his second death.
That's true, and Tuvok gets a promotion, and like Harry Kim's just watching.
Everyone gets a promotion. Tom
Even
Paris gets
Naomi
demoted,
Wildman gets a
and then he gets
promotion.
promoted again. Tom Paris was literally in prison for treason at the start of the show,
Yeah.
and he starts the show with the higher rank than Kim.
Yeah, but like for example here, Kessa's like, "Look, I'm not under the influence of anything. I really would like to leave your ship," and she's like, I'm obligated.
He would,
to
or Rick Berman
stay.
would.
But if you want to leave, you can leave. She's tearing up.
She's tearing up because Cass is being replaced with an actress she hates.
No, but Janeway, she's, like we look at her as a scientist, but she also balances emotion really well.
I don't know if I feel like even in the later season, like Janeway's character is never really nailed down. Like they're like she in her free time she likes to like role play as like Mary Poppins, but she also role plays as like Da Vinci's assistant, and she does the right thing
Da
except for
Vinci,
when
son
she
of
does
Gloin.
the wrong thing, and she doesn't take risks except she goes out of her way to take every single risk that pops up.
No risk. Janeway's crazy.
Yeah.
She almost gets the
Yeah.
ship destroyed so many times.
Like this time,
including by her own hand.
like Kes should
Oh,
not be on the
Matt.
ship.
Matt, in the background, look, when the ship is exploding, all the rocks fall from the ceiling. Keep a lookout for rocks. There they
Yeah.
are, rocks.
Okay.
Starfleet builds rocks in the ceiling of all of its ships.
They're made of rocks.
They're made out of rocks and explodium.
I guess it's good insulation, maybe? Not really. Stone structures aren't...
Asbestos.
What's the point?
They
add weight to the ship,
took a
you know?
cue from the designers of like medieval castles.
It's ballast.
Yeah, okay. Mind melding with extra intelligent, like exponentially intelligent beings is not a great idea.
They're just there to slow down the ship by adding extra mass because the warp drive is too powerful.
And the geranium's too light and strong.
They're all of the geological samples they've taken from all of the planets they've been to. They have to stick them in the walls because they run out of space everywhere
Oh,
else.
they're really my collection.
So he stabilizes her mind for like a fraction of a second.
Oh yeah, Tuvok. Matt, are you familiar with mind melds?
Sort of what it sounds
No.
like.
Yeah, it is.
I am not familiar with mind meld.
So
no.
a mind meld is where a Vulcan literally merges their consciousness with yours through
Oh,
touching your
uh-huh.
face. And Tuvok
Uh-huh.
loves it. He does it all the time.
It's supposed to be a really intimate thing, except it's a cool alien thing, so the writers decided to have it happen all the time.
You know, that kind of reminds me of the Asari from Mass Effect.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
sort of-
it's that. He's making her embrace eternity. Except he does it to everybody.
So there's been a few TNG episodes that show the evolution of humanity.
Oh, there goes one more shuttlecraft.
I think
How
Only
many are we
got
down?
-8 of those left.
the TNG episode evolution is actually kind of that. We turn into these blue things. But I was just rewatching Star Trek 4, and you gotta wonder, is that what like whales evolve into if you give them a couple of million years?
Actually, it turned into a yellow thing, not a blue thing.
Okay. Us, yeah.
Yeah, I have to imagine some prehistoric whales were taken by the same people who they went with the Voth and then turned into the whale probe people.
Don't
Yeah.
ask about the whale probe people or the Voth, Rusty. This is deep canon.
Did you know that dinosaurs escaped the asteroid by building spaceships?
And
And they
become
evolved into a super
creationists?
technological civilization?
So we're 10,000 years closer to home, and we were 70,000 years away from home before. So that's 1/7 of our journey.
Yeah, it's supposed to take 70 years to get back to the Alpha Quadrant, but through
Did Kes
some
see the
blatant
koala?
cheating, they're able to do it in just 7.
Why is it smiling?
There we go. The big reveal.
Yeah,
Rick
but she's
Berman
still-
posed her
Berman?
himself. He's on
was
set.
she?
He's like, no, put your hip a little more off to the side. Yep, there you go. Perfect.
What was she doing in there? Did they send like she's just like, I'm gonna go down to my old boardroom and pose for a minute?
Yes, exactly.
Even
I love it though. I love her old makeup with like her eye not visible, and then here they have just enough parts so you
We're
know
not
she's
sexualizing a trauma victim. She needs it for her skin and stuff, honest.
nice full not full frontal, whatever is the opposite of full frontal.
full no frontal where it's completely obscured.
Yeah. I mean, we already
All
had a
right, new
zoom
main
out
character.
shot. There was no reason for another zoom out establishment shot.
And the
Time
opening
to-
credits for this episode? Okay,
It's what?
opening titles?
Time to make her the
Oh.
central focus of too many episodes because the rest of the characters are kind of boring.
So before this episode, it was basically the Janeway and Tuvok show. Now it's the Seven and the Doctor show.
The weirdest character combination.
Well, it's the Janeway and 7 show too. Let's be fair.
One of them is
What were you saying it was before?
Seven's the board,
Janeway
right?
and Tuvok.
One
So
of
who?
them is a mild-mannered copy of Windows Defender, and the other one,
Tuvok's security chief.
You know, I love the last line of the episode though, because she says the little girl, like she was assimilated when she was 6. Her favorite color was red, so it's like the humanity is being recovered. She's not irredeemable.
new
All right, next episode is Day of Honor. Everyone, cue up Day of Honor. It's a B'Elanna
Childhood trauma
episode.
episode again.
Yes, trauma part 2, but a different person.
There is. I just discovered that there is a Twitter bot that tweets out the titles of Wikipedia articles that are singable to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme.
Oh, it is an amazing account.
Science
Yes.
fiction
It's
author,
beautiful.
Denver airport people mover. We know these things.
Those are beautiful.
Asian
renders it
Human
in the-
Rights
in the
No,
Commission.
stop it.
List
As a
of
logo, of
Irish
course.
film
That's it.
directors.
Be silent.
No, that's the important part. Is it actually makes it look like the logo of the show? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yep,
it's
it
beautiful.
Now that Ryan's gone, we can play the forbidden music.
I'm not gone. Be silent and
He's
keep
still
your
here.
forked tongues behind your teeth. Anyway, Day of Honor. Yeah, B'Elanna is this a childhood trauma or regular trauma? Hang on, press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
Critiques of critiques of new Star Trek say that a lot of the character development, or the characters have too much trauma, or like they talk too much about trauma on the show. But as you can see here, everyone in Starfleet has had like their brains sucked out through their butts, and
Yeah.
Is there
you
anybody
don't
on this
wanna-
show who does not have trauma? I guess Janeway doesn't. She's chill.
Well, Janeway had to break up with her fiance, and more importantly,
long
her
distance
dog
breakup.
after
But
getting sucked into the bone
pre-show
zone.
trauma. Before the show
Oh.
started.
I guess before the show she was fine.
Not really.
Yeah, don't join Starfleet. You'll just like clip through the floor and turn into a ball of gas.
Something happened to her to give her aversion to time travel.
That's just everybody in Starfleet. You learn in the academy just to avoid it at all costs.
Do you think there's
Except
do
in
you
the
think
original
there's one
series where it's
out
very
there who's
casual.
just, like extremely pro time travel?
Oh, Matt, that's Vorik. He tried to sexually assault B'Elanna a few episodes ago.
Yeah, but she's cool with it now.
You mean
Yeah, it's
the
fine.
engineer dude?
Yeah, Vorik.
Oh, nice.
the
Or is it
writers are
Torek?
just super cool with that for some reason.
Yeah.
Fauna
How old is
of
this
the
show?
Falkland
He had
Islands.
blood
Beside
fever.
So
How old is
Vulcans,
this show?
it was 98, I think.
Okay, so not even that old.
No,
So Vulcans, every 7 years, they have their mating cycle and they freak out and go crazy. And
Mhm.
because he's on the other side of the galaxy, his girlfriend isn't here, so he freaked out.
Mhm.
Tried to.
the
yeah.
same thing happened with
So the
Tuvok,
question
but
is,
they
what
solved
his
that one just
girlfriend
by
is doing?
having him have sex with the hologram.
The 7 years
I don't
thing was
think that
decided
happened.
by Gene Roddenberry because it's Gene Roddenberry and that's what he does.
Yeah, Gene Roddenberry is awful.
So
very
since every
uninhibited.
season is every series of Star Trek has 7 seasons. If there's a Vulcan character, you're all but guaranteed to have at least one Ponfar episode.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you get a bonus where it's like artificial Ponfar induced by some space alien or
The
cosmic
acoustic of inverted.
phenomenon.
Yeah. But really, in the original, they should just solve it like they always do in the original Ponfar episodes, where you just have to fight to the death with Q-tips. That's how you get rid of it.
In a couple episodes, B'Elanna and Tom will be all over each other in engineering.
Them women. Do 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 do.
Yeah, so this is so messed up because when B'Elanna was first part of the ship, they were like, "How could you become Maquis chief engineer?"
Faster than warp speed's supposed to mean.
Oh, I just remembered we didn't tell Matt the other part of the premise of this series. Half of the crew, including both of these characters, were terrorists.
Yeah.
Separatists,
They
independent. rebels.
Their colonies were given over to a hostile nation as part of a treaty, and so they were fighting for their territory.
Freedom
And
fighters.
Federation was hunting them down, and then they got stranded together, so they merged ships, and it's a whole thing.
Oh,
that
I see.
that's
So which, like, is there a clear divide on who were the freedom fighters and who weren't?
No, they've all been
The-
merged together.
yeah, they're all
The
merged
first season
together.
was a big thing.
All the
Not
all
anymore.
the potential of like tension between the two crews was sort of resolved pretty quickly.
They had a
and
holodeck
quietly.
episode about it.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
now they have now you'll notice the Starfleet people have like little circles on their rank insignia, whereas the Maquis have like rounded rectangles. But
Yeah,
that's
the only
really about
Maquis
it.
people who matter are B'Elanna, who's the chief engineer. She's the half Klingon. And Chakotay, who is made first officer as like a gesture of goodwill to the Maquis crew.
What was and the
Well,
whole Maquis
yeah, but
like
he has command experience.
He does.
He was the captain.
and the Maquis arc was resolved in
Starfleet
a different
experience.
show that's way better because Rick Berman was not involved in as much.
That was an Ira Stephen Bear show, and he's pretty good.
No, he wasn't
Yeah.
involved. Rick Berman, or no, never mind. Sorry.
Okay.
Questionable taste in
look,
facial hair.
He's maybe equally eccentric, just in a different way. Okay.
Rick
In
Berman's
a less
eccentric.
different way.
ethically dubious
Ira
way.
Stephen Bear is eccentric. He's like
yeah,
he-
I guess.
Well, he's look. Iron Stephen Bear is the guy who wears like the John Lennon glasses and like dyed his beard blue. Okay.
Yeah, yes, he did. I think he's just having like a like I'm 70 years old, but I'm still relevant thing, maybe.
And he really likes lounge music, so like
That's why he
sort of-
hired Avery Brooks.
he sort of did the same thing where like in this show, like because Rick Berman was a big creep, he like works a bunch of creepy things in a bunch of the show, and in Deep Space Nine, Ira Stephen Bear just works lounge music into the show for no reason.
We have a hologram of Frank Sinatra for like a whole season.
Yeah.
He has so many episodes.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom.
He replaces
Does
the
anybody
dedicated
here-
counselor and does a better job.
Does anybody here watch Cobra Kai?
No.
I binged the entire season 5 of Cobra Kai Friday night, and they have an episode. It's very well done episode where they have his way. Like they have like a scene where it's done. It's played out to his way. It's just chef's kiss.
I like how you don't
So-
call it my way, you call it his way, because you like have you have prominent disagreements with Frank
No,
Sinatra.
His Way is the name of an episode of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, okay.
That's the one where Vic tricks Odo and Kira into making out. Oh god, it's the Apology People again. Wait, is it?
Yeah, I guess the song is My Way, isn't it? Well, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Are there any other important Maquis? I mean, Tom was briefly Maquis.
Tuvok
Tom
was
Paris, the
Maquis,
pilot?
but he was
He was Maquis for one
traitor.
mission before getting captured and sent to beautiful New Zealand for treason.
yeah. There was Suska, who was not a Maquis,
Dead
who
now.
was a spy and almost blew up the ship and sold him out to the rhubarb people.
Tuvok was also a spy, but for the Federation rather than for current
She was working for them. You were working for her. Was everyone on the ship working for? Was anyone working for me?
Oh yeah.
No.
Right. That was a good line.
He asks him, he's like, "Am I really that naive?" Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
And Tuvok was like, we're just really good spies, I guess."
Get good, Chakotay.
Well,
Yeah.
this episode was directed by Jesus Salvador Trevino, and he directed a number of movies about Chicano struggles in the 60s, 70s, And then he did a lot of Sequest, Babylon 5, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine.
I miss Sequest. Sequest is underappreciated, I think,
was a good
as
show.
a sci-fi series. I was huge into Sequest, and they kind of did it dirty, you know.
Okay, it is Vorik, not Torek. Good.
My favorite episode, one of my favorite episodes, was the episode where the one guy on the ship who was like always getting into trouble. He went through extreme lengths to make a real hamburger, and he finally gets all the stuff because meat is illegal in the future, obviously.
Yeah.
Finally gets all the stuff.
They no longer enslave animals for food
Well,
purposes.
No, it's because
He's cooking it
the methane from cows.
because of greenhouse gases. Yeah.
Ozone. Yeah. Sorry, greenhouse.
He finally gets all the stuff, and he's cooking it in his like quarters, and the skipper is walking down the hallway. He smells it, and he's like, "What's going on in here?" And he sees he's cooking the hamburgers. That's I can have you. Blah blah. And he takes it, and he goes out into the hallway, and he goes to like the garbage chute. He's about to throw it away, and he takes a huge bite out of it, and so puts it in the garbage chute. What's the point of throwing it away? It's already made and cooked.
I mean, we're getting to that point where like meat's gonna be all artificial.
Why are we letting a Borg drone who we know wants to kill us work on the warp core?
Ear-review, the problem with that is that it's currently worse for the environment to make the fake meat than it is to make regular meat. So until they figure that out, and the fake meat isn't any better for you either.
That's not true. Fake meat depends on the brand, but generally takes less. If you compare like emulated beef burger, that produces about as much energy as like it would for the same amount of meat from a chicken,
Or cow.
which is way more efficient than a cow, and also it contains much less fat and more vitamins. It depends on what they do. Some of them are crap, some of them are good.
I mean, we're getting there though. Even with plants, you can more efficiently grow plants in like a mist based environment than even like roots and soil. You just mist the roots on a different layer of like the tray.
I like the blood pie because Klingons just have sort of like a blood-based cuisine. You know, they're like, these are our blood worms, this is our blood wine, this is our blood pie.
Yeah.
I'll have blood soda.
Isn't Klingons
They would really
thing-
like Scottish food.
Aren't Klingons
would,
like,
wouldn't
really
they?
really warlike?
Yeah, but they're friendly now. They're friends.
Yeah, they're best buds with the Federation now because
Except for that time they go to
Well-
war again for a few episodes, but that's fine.
yeah, but the Federation, the peaceful, tolerant, fanatically pacifist Federation actually gets along really freaking well with
Remember that time the
somewhat
Klingons?
totalitarian conquering
Remember when
empire
the
that
Klingons,
Klingons-
were actually?
They were saying like, "Oh yes, these people are rebelling
against.
against us. Your Federation's helping them, aren't you?" It's like, no, dude. If you want to conquer and oppress people, that's your business. We're not going to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
The Star Trek 6, the Klingons were, I guess, kind of like joining the Federation. At the beginning of Next Generation, the Klingons were part of the Federation. They showed the ship, the bridge of the Klingon ship, and it had a United Federation of Planets crest, and it implied that every member planet of the Federation may have had their own Starfleet, not Starfleet, but Starfleet. And
Yeah, like the Vulcan Defense
Klingon
Force.
Royal, exactly.
Oh,
And
that's-
so they all
that's still
operated
a thing.
autonomously. No, but then they just kind of dropped that whole thing, and they never really mentioned it again because the Ferengi turned out being a big flop.
Oh, yeah.
They needed a villain.
Yeah, like in the Federation, like all the member states sort of operate independently, and like they each do have their own ships and stuff, but we only see
They don't
human
do
ships
anything.
as Federation ships because humans have like the easiest makeup, and they're
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
most out of all of like the Federation species. They're like the most populous and like the most horny for space. So like while all of the other Federation members are maybe like doing practical science, you know, they're like, we're gonna
I made a
You know-
quantum flux toaster.
Yeah, we made a quantum flux toaster. The Vulcans are like doing,
No.
climatology.
Transwarp replicator. Okay.
Yeah, transwarp replicator.
It'll replicate the food and it'll transwarp it into your mouth, no matter where you are.
There's a Klingon.
In Roman Catholicism, there are 7 sacraments. So you start with baptism, and then you get confirmation.
I guess so.
So right, and then so basically, if you don't get, if you're not confirmed by your teenage years, then you have to at some point do it when you're an adult or something. So
Do you think there's
B'Elanna has
Catholic
the same problem.
Klingons?
She didn't go through all her childhood rites
Sanctified
until she
Targ.
became- Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: if Catholicism survives into the 24th century, you better bet that they're sending missionaries to other planets to convert other species.
Yeah, I am all but certain. Like, we never see it, but the Roman Catholic Church has got to be around in the 20th century. And there's
in
the original Enterprise had a church on
it. In the Expanse, the Mormons build a giant generational ship to bring Mormonism to the stars. So.
The way Mormons found Utah.
That's true. They don't even have any aliens necessarily. They kind of were they hoping for aliens? I don't remember.
No,
I don't know. I think like Earreview said, they were kind of doing what they did when they went into Utah, because
it's the promised land with the Salt Lake, just like Israel has
polygamy and child brides is frowned upon generally, and they wanted to go somewhere where they could make their own rules.
Also, they kept getting
they were being lynched
shot at.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I've completely lost track of what you people are talking about. I have no idea.
The founder got lynched by his own followers for hooking up with their wives.
What the Klingons are doing right now, where
how about Star Trek?
They're like, how many? You're 14 years old. How many people have you killed? And you're like, I'm an accountant. I haven't killed anybody.
Dude, that's not practical. We're gonna run out of people to kill pretty quick.
We can't have everyone in our society be warriors, guys.
I mean, they mentioned that in the Enterprise stuff when they're trying to come up with a vaccine. They say, look, like, scientists are frowned upon, and
scientists are like, oh, you couldn't kill anyone in battle, so you're becoming a scientist.
How old did we figure out that Alexander was when he enlisted in the Klingon Navy?
He was like 6 or younger.
I thought he was like 8.
He got aged up in a time portal, though, didn't he?
No, that was.
They just say Klingons grow faster.
Miles' kid.
Okay.
No, then there was the what you call it? What's the girl's name on Voyager? The little kid.
Naomi
Wildman.
Naomi.
Yes.
Yeah, she's
Naomi Wildman,
like,
subunit of Ensign Samantha
Kataryn's
Wildman.
aged faster. So, because she's like 3 or 4, and she looks like she's like 10, right?
Wow, how convenient. That means we don't have to deal with the logistics of having a baby on the set.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. It's just like, oh, these species all conveniently age really fast, but also live really long, like Kor and Koloth and the other guy.
I'm so glad they changed the Klingon makeup with Kor, Kang, and Koloth, because in the original series, all the Klingons were just people in blackface, and it wasn't great.
Well, they were in blackface, but they're also like vaguely orientally inspired.
Yeah, don't worry about it,
Asian
man.
culture.
What was that?
It was a whole race of blackface.
They had a mongoloid mustache kind of structure.
Don't say that.
Klingons in the original series,
they're
like vaguely Asian inspired. Like
they were meant to be as like a proxy for like the Soviet Union or like
China.
Like European people, and that the
Definitely the Soviet
Federation is in
Union,
a Cold War with, so they have like bizarre racialized characteristics.
The whole galaxy is learning to speak Klingonese.
The original series was made in the 60s. Don't worry about it.
So, fun fact, English is the language of aviation, but Russian is the language of aeronautics.
Russian is the language of getting absolutely wrecked.
So, that's why when you're in space and you want to dock with the Soyuz spacecraft, you have to say...
This is a poor guy who's been trying to write a...
Nobody docks in
do
the
a video
Soyuz
about
spacecraft
the
anymore.
about the Kharkiv counteroffensive for days now, and he just keeps on having to rewrite it. It's like, whoop, they took another city.
God, I don't like this alien. I don't like the mohawk, the thin wispy mohawk.
This is a
He has
good
all these
alien.
holes in his
Like,
face.
He
this
looks
is
like a dinosaur
good
people.
alien makeup for Star Trek.
It is, but I also don't like
great.
it.
like really good. Like they went out of their way to give this guy the crystal skull face.
And by the way, this is kind of like the attitude. If you feed one poor refugee, you wind up with like 20 more on your doorstep.
Where are they going to come from? They're in
Here-
space.
Another thing to consider about this alien makeup is that it's literally a one shot. They never have this race on the show again. So they
Well, it
did this
looks
great
like it's a
job creating this
variant.
character.
We see variants of this makeup all the time. Like the Tarai use a variant of this.
Oh, it's a triangle ship of alien makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make slight
Well, I
alterations,
don't know.
but they reuse it a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Kit bashing, but for makeup.
The mohawk, though, I think that's new.
Genuinely loves
What
to
are you
feel
eating?
like he's helping.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
what's in the
opening
bag?
So that you're gonna share?
I'm throwing.
Did you bring enough for everyone?
All right. It was better made rainbow potato chips. Okay.
Catsuit.
Rainbow?
Better
What
made
does that
rainbow
mean?
potato chip.
Why are they
You
rainbow?
have to look it up. Because that's what they call it, rainbow potato chips.
But potatoes don't come in rainbow. They're brown.
So, this is the first Borg phobia. Like we see this in Picard when they're like selling ex-Borg for parts, but here, everyone hates the ex-Borg because I lost everything, my home, my family.
This is also actually a pretty decent episode, but we keep talking
Yeah.
over with our dumbitudes.
That's how these streams work, dude.
Yeah.
So
Is
that's
that-
Tom
is that
Paris. He's
how-
the guy who was convicted of treason and sent to New Zealand.
So would that guy
he-
react the same way to a Borg of his own species, who was
Maybe.
liberated?
One time he fell in love with a haunted spaceship.
It's hard to
And-
get your idea around the Borg. Sorry, what were you saying, everyone?
I don't know if he fell in love with it so much as he was like manipulated by it, or
The ship was like inside
Tom
his
is like-
brain, screwing with it, right?
All right, Tom.
I mean,
Right.
he went out of his way to buy that spaceship. He was very interested in it.
Tom is like, if there's any way I can make you more comfortable here on Voyager
But
in your uniform. I mean, on Voyager.
there's a funny line later where Seven is making observations about how predictable Harry Kim is. Like he's always hitting on.
Yes.
Is Tom Paris buying a fancy new race ship his mid-show crisis?
Yeah. With his
is.
receding
But he
Yeah,
already
that's
has a
prices.
Delta Flyer. How many do you need?
Does he have
Well,
the
it's
Delta Flyer at
different.
that
It's like-
point?
No, he doesn't have. one.
Yes, they do have the Delta Flyer at that point.
Well, he needs 2 race cars.
Right. No, I can completely understand that. I mean, I also need 2 race cars, so there you go.
I'm surprised you're able to make buyouts 2 race cars.
The number of race cars you need is the number of race cars you have plus 1 always. So it's n plus 1, where n is the number of race cars you have.
I sleep in
I
race
choose to
car
have
bed.
negative
Can
1
you
race
say
cars.
that?
I could have told you this is a stupid idea. Why are you automatically trying to upgrade your transport? You just traveled 10,000 light years, and now you're. I mean, anyone can play Monday morning quarterback.
If you have
Hey,
negative
like,
1 race cars, you
you-
better get one.
You might have
Why
to
are they
inject the warp
trying to
core here.
upgrade the warp drive to transwarp? And the last time they did that, they turned
Yeah.
people into lizards.
Yeah,
But they cured the salamander disease.
they're in New
They
Zealand.
fixed
They go
Yeah.
better.
If you turn into a salamander, you just retire to New Zealand. That's what happens to you.
Do you suppose some other aliens are going to come along the salamander offspring of Paris and Captain Janeway?
we see
and
the
be like,
salamanders again in lower decks, but are they the same salamanders or different salamanders?
Are they going to be like, there's some weird like DNA thing going on with these. Why don't we do an experiment? And they turn them into humans, and like, what the hell happened?
Mama. So this was stupid. This was really, really stupid. Like you could lose your entire warp core, or you could like I could have told you the Borg phase inverter, the parts don't line up.
Alana
the
trying to
last
get
time
some
they did
honor
these crazy
saving the ship.
experiments, they did it on the shuttlecraft.
Wow,
like the
the
most-
ejection system actually worked for once.
Yeah. Plus, you see how huge the warp core is.
Isn't that bigger than
is
the
this
ship?
also the episode where? Is this also the episode where Paris and Taurus admit they love each other?
Come on.
Maybe. Yeah, they're floating in
So
space at the very end.
Tom kind of hitting on 7 of 9 isn't that big of a deal yet.
Right.
Man, it would. I shout out to the set designers who had to actually like uninstall their like
Yeah.
30-foot high
nightmare.
prop unless they just photoshopped it out and like put that mat on top of
Clearly
shots
they
where the
filmed
warp
all
core
the
is.
scenes without the warp core before they started episode 1, and then they just inserted them later in the series when they needed them.
No, but fun fact: in television, they rebuild and build the sets every day. Like, there's not enough space to just like leave the stuff lying around.
They probably designed it so that they could just lift it out the top with like a crane or something, you know?
It's like in part. They have like a whole production crew of like grunts to do this every single day.
Grunts.
Like the Halo grunts.
Zug zug.
Halo grunts or Warcraft grunts?
Just peons. Orc peons.
they're like half as tall as all of the actors.
Yeah,
They're just there. They just come out with in a loincloth with a wooden mallet, and they just hit it repeatedly.
They keep them in barrels. And like whenever they need some work done on the set, they just open up the barrels and like 30 of them come out.
Okay, let's
they're
see if
like,
this. Let's see if
We're
this.
professional set designers. We went to film
Let's see if-
school.
Let's see if this shuttlecraft has identity crisis. So, right now we are in the set of a Type 2, right? Or are we?
Maybe, I don't know.
yeah.
So
thought
when
this
we
was
when
a
we see the
Type
exterior
4.
shots, if we see the exterior shot, is it going to be a Type 6 or a Type 8? I wonder. Or Type 2. We'll see. Voyager is notorious for having mismatched shuttle interiors to the exterior shots.
I'm pretty sure they weren't worried about you and me observing that on this watch along when they did that.
The Cochrane was the shuttlecraft they used when they turned into lizards.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Good trivia.
That's our trash. Can't take our trash. Also, doesn't Voyager have 2 warp cores? Don't they have a spare?
Yeah, yes, they do.
I didn't know that.
It's
So what
on
they
the
should be
maps,
doing right
but
now
they
is
never
putting,
use
putting
it.
the spare. They should be putting the spare in and then coming to get this one and putting it where the spare was.
I just rewatched Star Trek 4 and 5. So in 4, Spock has to Scotty has to recrystallize the dilithium crystals, and he says, "Well, we don't even have that technology in the 23rd century." But Spock somehow comes up with a way to recrystallize them.
It turns out all you need is a nuke.
Nuclear
They
weapons.
irradiated their own planet?
Yeah. Nuclear weapons famously solve most problems.
Yeah, man.
It's
Nuclear
true.
weapons.
Really?
Every time I have
Nuclear
a problem,
weapons, nuclear vessels, it all works out.
every time I have a problem, I throw a nuclear weapon at it. Now I have a different
Quick
problem.
question.
It's you
Quick
shout
question.
Bortles while
Shouldn't
you
they
do
have
it,
just
Mr.
been
Favorite.
able to?
Yeah.
Shouldn't they have just been able to beam out and the transporter put a suit on them?
I don't know if I would trust the transporter to do
Seemed like
that.
that took a lot of time.
They
Seemed like that
did-
took a lot of time to put those suits on when their ship was about to explode.
The movie Interstellar is just a copy of this episode.
I don't think I disagree with that premise.
Or wherever, like you're in. What was it? There was another one with George Clooney in orbit.
Exterior.
Gravity?
No, it's gone.
That's one more shuttlecraft. that
God, how
fights
many
the-
shuttles have we lost?
2 in a row.
But
Voyager
like,
only held like 2 to 4 shuttles.
I remember watching this episode live, and I was like, "Wow, like a romance through astronaut suits." This, like, that's when you realize you're loving someone as you're in the black of space with nothing else around you. Really well done, though.
I still don't know why every spacesuit in every Star Trek
Voyager
show has
lost
LEDs
16
shining on the
shuttles,
actors' faces.
approximately.
That's so
Oh,
they can't break.
Voyager lost 16 shuttles approximately.
They don't have 16 shuttles. How did they lose 16?
In initiations, Chakotay shuttle destroyed by Kazon. Non sequitur, shuttle Drake destroyed by Time Stream. Parturition, Paris and Neelix crash in a shuttle. Coda, Chakotay and Janeway crash in a shuttle.
Okay, yes, it's a lot of shuttles.
Unity, Chakotay and
Sometimes they
Captain
maybe
crash on
imply
the planet.
that they like
of
pull the
Nick
shuttles
Lorca.
back up with the tractor beam, but yeah, it's
Maybe.
Multiple fully explode, like that one. It's gone.
yeah.
So these
Right.
these are also the first contact.
Oh, wait. We
Basically-
lost one in the previous episode in Gift, didn't
Yeah.
we? Because the shuttle Kess was on was destroyed.
No, I don't know if it was
Um,
destroyed or if she just turned into like a ball of gas and they just kind of couldn't go back for it because they're 10,000 light years away.
This shuttle carrying Neelix, Tuvok, and Skalar crash on planet.
I
Chakotay
don't know
shuttle
why
crashes in
they-
Warzone on Nemesis.
I don't know why they ever have people travel in shuttles because every time they do, something terrible happens.
Kidnapped, the
know,
shuttle's
the Delta-
destroyed. It's just, don't do it.
You never come back from the medical
It's
conference.
like going to conferences. Like that never goes well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Like every
generation.
time someone goes to a conference, it just exists as a ex machina to separate them from the ship at the beginning of the
Every
episode.
time I
so
go
they
to a
can-
meeting at work, I'm terrified something's going to happen because Star Trek has traumatized me.
Yeah, you fall into like a warp bubble,
Oh, yeah.
or like you get abducted by Romulans, or you get you get abducted by the secret police, or you run into an infinite amount of alternate versions of yourself, or
I'm actually at
you
a
know you
conference
come
right
back
now.
and like you're
I should be worried.
like the ship's frozen in
Thanks, you
time.
fool!
You should
What have
never
you
watch
done?
Star Trek at a conference.
I don't know.
Oh, it's a nice space hug.
Do you
I
think
don't
they have
know
a
why they're,
conference for
like,
accidents
shaking
encountered
around.
on the way to conferences?
Well, I do know why they're shaking around. It's because they're on wires and the wires are shaking a bit, but that doesn't really make sense for space. So yes, fun fact, Matt, these two actresses hate each other. But the writers put them together all the time.
Huh. Why did they hate each other? Any
Because the
particular reason?
captain was the female lead and she felt like Jerry Ryan was upstaging her.
Oh, huh.
Introduced
Like,
in season 4, everyone was focused on her. She got all the new episodes.
Actors are very, very jealous and territorial about how many lines another actor gets in the script.
Probably single-handedly saved the show.
7 of 9 became the main
true.
character when previously it was the captain.
Yeah. I understand why she's frustrated, but Seven really was
Yeah.
probably
yeah.
the reason the show lasted as long as it did.
Good actor.
It was getting record low ratings and probably would have died earlier if UPN had anything else.
Yeah.
Like Nowhere Man and
But,
the
you know,
Sentinel.
it was also
and-
Sentinel, that's right. I remember that one actually.
It was also like a really peak point for
Wasn't
like,
there a
women
really
in
bad
Star Trek.
sitcom about was that?
Was there Dangerous Games
Platypus Man
or something like that?
Was Platypus Man on UPN? Do I remember that?
Wasn't there?
Yeah.
I don't know, but there was a show where like, the guy was like in a video game, Dangerous Game or something like that. But the video game was being
Wreck-It
manipulated
Ralph?
by the devil. What was it called?
Wreck-It
Wow.
Ralph.
Yeah.
What was that? We can react. Oh, look at this. Oh. Who's watching
What?
the stream? On Discord.
Green Candle Peach. Okay.
That's awesome.
Is that
Wait.
supposed to be a ghost candle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, Matt, you need to watch the ghost candle episode. It's so good.
Oh God.
Ghost Candle episode?
Yeah, the episode where the
Not
medical officer is
watch.
reading her grandmother's erotic diary, then hooks up with her ex-lover, who's a ghost.
Oh, Wait, what?
It
Yes,
makes
yeah.
sense in
Boss we
context,
talked about
maybe.
earlier that shoots
And there's
lightning out of
Yeah.
fingers
outrageous Scottish
after
accents
possessing
are involved.
the corpse of her
and-
grandmother, who wrote sad erotic diary.
Problematic depictions of Scottish people. It's all
Oh.
there.
It's like they go to like a
Well, there was that
planet where,
one
like,
alien
everyone's
Scottish
Scottish.
cosplayer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's
Played by
like
an-
the aliens on the planet are Scottish.
The one character who is human and supposed to be Scottish was played by an Irishman.
The one the planet like has a similar climate to Scotland, and they talk about how they're gonna have to delay like the caber tossed because of the freaking erotic ghost.
The Ghost Storm.
Just-
God, I love Star Trek. It's so bad.
See, this is why
You
it was
should
so good, but they
watch-
did a genuinely weird episode in Strange New Worlds. I was like, yes,
Yes.
must have weird
it was the best
episodes.
one.
It's the
Yeah,
40th anniversary of
weird
Wrath of
episodes.
Khan, so we should watch Space Seed and Wrath of Khan.
You can watch Space Seed and Wrath of Khan. I got stuff to do.
Wrath of Khan is pretty good, man. It's
I don't know. I still think The Whales is the best movie.
We can watch Star Trek 2: The
No.
Wrath of
Star
Khan,
Trek
and
4
then
is
we
fun.
can also watch Star
Yes.
Trek 2 The Wrath of Khan 2, where
As a film,
Why
like,
are they
Star Trek
bobbing
4
up
has
and
enough
down?
prizes. Like, and I was reading like one of the reasons why the Hobbit wasn't so great and Lord of the Rings was amazing was because like you don't want the plot to feel as though the characters are just like running across a course. You want it to feel like, you know, the characters have some agency and they're actually determining the plot. So when Jillian jumps in with Jim Kirk's arms and like surprise, you know, like we've never seen anyone just join a transport by jumping onto.
Yeah, that's not how the transporter works, but don't worry about it.
But you know, it means that you know you genuinely surprise the audience because the plot isn't just chugging as it normally does.
do you think now that they've plugged like the aux into the spacesuits, like they can share mixtapes with each other?
Probably.
no, but he can do a wicked Dutch oven.
Ha ha.
So the characters are bobbing up and down. I guess that's supposed to be like they're stranded in the ocean together, except it's not an ocean, so they shouldn't bob.
Right.
Oh yeah,
There's a
Space
lot
is the
going
ocean
on in this
is a common
episode.
visual metaphor.
It's the camera that's moving, not the. Well, they might have
Oh,
some
okay.
residual inertia from something.
The
I don't know,
cameraman's
they're just
bobbing in the
moving.
space ocean. Got it.
And
Yeah,
the
starships
other-
are just tall ships in space. That's how they work.
since we have Tom and Balana shipping, you know, the question was like who to seven ship with. They tried Harry, they tried Chakotay, you know,
Tom and
Neelix,
Balana are trying to ship the warp core back.
They tried Ralphie.
the Doctor.
and right, the Doctor, but we never really find anyone. They try so hard with Chakotay, but I think that's more to like make the actor suffer. They even kiss at one point, but no, Seven never finds a lover until Star Trek Picard.
Yeah, she gets with Ralphie. They love each other, kind of. It's unclear, actually.
They just
Isn't that
hold
just
hands.
in like one
in a
like a
flirty
background
way.
shot in like the last episode? I didn't watch.
No,
season
they have
two.
a whole thing for like all of season 2. They're bickering.
They're still into each other.
And then they kind of get back together.
Also, first confirmed gay relationship in Star Trek 2020. Well, actually, we had Sulu, future Sulu, adopt a child with his future husband,
In an alternate universe, though.
Kelvin Sulu. Yeah.
There,
And funny thing, George Takei wasn't happy about that because he didn't think Sulu was gay, just because he is.
but wait, what about the creepy bisexual evil people from the dark dimension?
Yeah. Matt, don't worry about that.
Yeah,
Yeah. What was that?
Star Trek was made in the 60s and 90s, and for some reason they went with the strategy of evil people are all bisexual.
Oh.
yeah.
Gotta
And they
love
kind of
it.
went with that even in the 2010s when they should have known better.
Yeah, they
Right.
did.
Commandant Kira being infatuated with herself.
Are there any bi people in all of Star Trek who aren't
wanna-
evil? Is there one
wanna
such
point out-
person?
The scene
In the
where-
Alpha universe,
Riker,
I don't know.
Riker.
I want to point
Riker's
out
into
the
the
scene.
androgynous.
I mean, I would believe Riker, but
The scene where Mir Julian is torturing Mira Kira, she does not sound like she is being tortured.
No.
Also
Much more.
Julian
No,
and
you
Garrett
asked for
are
more.
a good
no, it's
couple.
but in the Alpha universe,
Is that
mean,
what's
the Alpha
called?
universe-
The Alpha universe?
Kira saw her
Alex
father.
I don't know.
Siddiq
Looks like from
and
everything
Nana
everywhere
Visitor
Whoa, whoa,
had
whoa,
a
Rebel,
kid.
what did you just call him?
Alexander.
Alexander Siddig.
Who's that?
that?
Who's Alexander Siddiq? Do you mean Siddiq
Uh,
al-Tahil, father of Abdurrahman Muhammad Ahmad Abu Karim al-Mahdi?
Indeed, I do.
Oh, okay.
you should say so.
Yeah, why don't you just call him Siddiq al-Tahil, father of Abdurrahman Muhammad Ahmad Abu Karim al-Mahdi?
I don't have it memorized like you do.
Why don't you have it memorized that his name is Siddiq al-Tahil,
Name
father of
removal.
Abdurrahman Muhammad Ahmad Abu Karim al-Mahdi? It's not that
That's
hard.
his name. It's only polite to refer to someone by their name. So
You could at least call him Siddiq.
So this point reminds me. I remember a study about the Bosnian War, and so when you're in a war zone, men and women they kind of form relationships based upon the fact that like life is being blown up around them. But like after the
What's
war,
happening here?
those
Man.
relationships don't last because the man was providing security, the woman was providing intimacy, and now like we're back to normal. So I don't think Tom and B'Elanna should have really they fell in love in the Black Ops space, but that really should not have turned into a solid relationship.
No, if we let Seven go over to the fake Terai, then she can manipulate them into contacting the collective and get home. 'Cause clearly it's not going to work on Voyager. Why don't we just leave? Oh, right, they took the warp core. Wait, do we have the warp core? What happened with the warp core?
No, our people are stranded because they went looking for the warp core, and the caddy got them. Katati.
So the Katati, they have the warp core right now?
They're like trying to steal it.
They have it at home. And they put it under their mattress.
Well, the very last episode of this series, the Borg give away the technology.
No, that was not the last episode. That was 2 episodes ago.
I mean, Endgame, the final episode of the series.
Is this a Prime Directive violation?
No, they're warp capable. It doesn't count.
Okay.
No, Prime.
They're not even
Directive
clear
does
that
apply
it's that warp
to-
capability is the dividing line sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, they can share technology with them.
Warp capability is whether or not you can contact them, and the Prime Directive holds always. Doesn't matter if they're warp capable or not.
Like,
Oh, the
Janeway does yell at
technology is
multiple species
sort of
season 1 that they
already
don't share
have.
technology.
Yeah. Well, that's still
you
interference.
you don't influence the society's development regardless of if they have warp technology or not. Right?
Unless we feel like it that episode.
Yeah, unless we need to change their government.
Oh.
Or something.
Unless it will make us especially heroic.
No, this episode turned out to be relatively decent. Like we have
Yeah.
3 or 4 different arcs going on here, and they're all generally okay.
unless it'll help illustrate the social narrative that we're trying to illustrate in the episode through metaphor.
And hot and heavy breathing.
Voyager is not at all subtle in its metaphors. Like
the dinosaur
TNG is pretty
creationists.
subtle, but Voyager, no.
And if Voyager isn't subtle, Discovery is a blunt stick.
Remember the episode of Voyager where it was a metaphor for the atomic bomb and they just straight up described Hiroshima but changed the name to a sci-fi name?
Yeah, that was season 1.
Yeah, man.
Brian, this server needs more emotes. We haven't introduced this new emote since Shell.
What, is that not enough?
So, what you call it? We have the Friendship 1 episode. Okay.
You'd think we'd figure out how to synthesize oxygen from carbon dioxide at this point.
Stab him. Oh,
Truth about
okay.
what?
Oh wow, they use that.
Oh, that's just the hypoxia talking, you silly Klingon.
Yeah, they're a little...
Yeah, the thing is warning you that your oxygen level is lower than allowable.
He should have said, I know, like Han Solo.
Do all the characters in this show make their decisions while not in a good state of mind? Because, like, Kess breaks up with someone while she's possessed. They're starting a relationship while they're oxygen deprived. Seven tries to start a relationship when she doesn't even understand what it means to be a person. Janeway's trying to compensate for having nobody in her life. And she gets with a hologram. Does anybody in the show actually like each other?
That's a big negative.
We're all coping with the fact that we're lonely people.
Executive producer Rick Berman. Curse you, Rick Berman.
Curse you, Rick Berman!
A blight upon your house.
Rick Berman has no honor.
Tom and B'Elanna made a lot of sense. I'm glad they got together. It sounded like they were a bad couple.
Alright, now that we're done with... Well, not done with. Now that we've resolved this week's Seven trauma and B'Elanna trauma, now we need to traumatize Chakotay a little bit. He doesn't start with trauma, but we're going to give him some. 1 minute to Nemesis.
Yeah, what was the deal with the whole thing where she went into the holodeck and they're like, tell me how many people you've killed? Like, that was in this episode, right?
Yeah, man.
What did that have to do with what happened at the end of the episode? How was
Nothing,
that
don't worry
resolved?
about it.
Did
nothing to do with
finish
anything.
Did they finish that thread where, like, B'Elanna's like, I don't feel good about being a Klingon in this one?
No.
Like that was, like, I'm not...
They'll bring it back up in, like, season 6. We got time.
So they just so that's just gonna be hanging here for, like, 3 more seasons?
Yep.
Hey, I respect that. Apparently, in the new Trek, they decide they have to clean up everyone's story before the season's over.
And it's really obvious they only wrote the first half of the season
cleaning
before they
up
started
the
filming.
the character before the season's over, and then
Hang on,
there's
press play in
doing
5,
something
4,
all over the floor,
3,
not even
2,
acknowledging
1, play.
that
Okay,
it's
last
there
episode.
until like ant colonies formed around it.
Oh, is this the planet where we murdered the children? This has got to be the same planet.
What's the name of the episode?
Yeah, it is that planet.
Nemesis?
No, this is Nemesis. This mean is it the same set?
This
the same set.
This is the famous movie Star Trek Nemesis.
Huh. This is actually
doesn't
probably
look like
better
Tom Hardy.
than the movie Nemesis.
You know, if Tom Hardy had just used a gun, it probably would have worked out. This guy is a gun.
This is not a good episode. I don't know. Like Nemesis is not a good movie, but it's better than this.
I like this episode. It's weird and creepy, and it's a fun one. I like that they have actual guns and not garage door openers.
Oh wait, maybe this is a different episode where
This is the
Chakotay
one
gets
where-
involved with guerrilla warfare on a jungle planet. Oh no,
Maybe.
this is the one I'm thinking of. Never mind.
Yeah, he's tricked into thinking like, oh, they are the Nemesis. We must destroy them. They flay our people on the ground.
There's this one, and then there's the one where they accidentally get brainwashed by a war memorial.
So we were
Yeah,
talking
that
about
one's different.
We were talking about the Prime Directive in the prior episode, and there's also a temporal Prime Directive. But having watched Star Trek 4, there's no concept of any kind of, don't interfere with the timeline because they nerve pinch the guy who plays loud music. They bring Jillian back from the 24th century. They steal humpback whales. They land in San Francisco Park. So it's they're not the remote bit concerned about the fact that
How long were they parked in the park, by the way? Because you would think someone would notice.
Yeah, like 3 days at least.
Track 4?
Just
Yeah.
nobody in San Francisco went to the park for 3 days.
I mean, they showed
And
the
like
garbage
hit their head
people-
on the wall.
The garbage people see the bird of prey decloaking or landing, and then they decide to get the hell out of there and not tell anyone.
And then the garbage people cordoned off the area so no one would run into the ship. What happened there?
So the concerns about
Tiny planet. How tiny are you today?
even when they go and on the nuclear vessels and they send a Russian
Vessels?
into
I'm sorry, that's nuclear vessels.
Alameda. Where is Alameda with the nuclear vessels?
Hey, Matt, do you know where the Alameda Naval Base is?
Across the bay.
In Alameda?
So they must have come up with that rule after that you're not allowed to interfere in the timeline.
Well, no, because they talk about that in the series, like when they kidnap a fighter pilot from the 20th century. It's like, no, we have to return everything exactly the way it was.
I love how people talk in this episode.
You know what? This reminds me of the episode where the humans were like living underground for a few generations and they come to the underside to steal our diggers. And he speaks in shale.
Terra Nova?
Yeah. Yep, this is how people talk for sure.
This is
Very
like
Shakespearean.
this is like the episode where they run into the people that they like. I can't remember it, but they like have they explain the premise of Star Trek Voyager in like poetry, like it's a Greek drama.
I think the premise of this episode is what if we ran a regular script through
Rocky
Google Translate a few times?
Shores? What is the episode?
It's like the standard, if you're killing people via drone, how do you know who you're killing kind of thing.
But you're not even killing people via drone. This is killing people classic.
He just has a gun.
Muse. That's episode Muse.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, Muse.
B'Elanna Shakespeare.
Wait, I thought Muse was the one where the doctor becomes a famous singer.
No, Muse the one where
No.
B'Elanna becomes the subject of a play.
Yeah.
Man, these are all real episodes we're talking about here. Like.
Yeah. That I mean, given
It really
everything-
was brainwashed by a war memorial
Virtuoso.
episode.
Virtuoso is the episode where the doctor
Yeah.
becomes a celebrity on a weird planet full of rude short people.
When I was a kid, I read this Deep Space Nine like children's novel about Jake Sisko, and so he's just playing a video game, and he thinks he's winning, but some alien species is using all that like video game input to like kill people on the ground or like mine for minerals. on a
Like
real-life
Ender's
planet.
Game or The
Exactly.
Game.
Exactly like Ender's Game by Isaac Asimov. But as a 14-year-old kid reading
Ender's
that,
Game is not written by Isaac Asimov.
sorry, Foundation was written by Isaac Asimov.
Oh, okay.
Isn't the person who wrote Ender's Game crazy?
Yes.
Cool.
Extremely Mormon,
What
which
kind of-
doesn't mean he's crazy, but another fact about him.
I thought it was a lady. Who wrote Ender's Game?
Orson Scott Card.
Yeah.
AKA Dr. Crazy.
Oh, okay.
crazy is a word you're really not supposed to use. You know, mental illness is just a thing we all could go through. It can happen to anyone.
I'm not saying he has a mental illness. I'm saying he's a freaking weird dude.
Okay.
I would really love if next episode they still had Chakotay talking all weird from his experience here.
And it's like,
reminds
excuse me, leader. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
It reminds me
Okay.
of the beginning of Macbeth. When it's like, hail who goes there. And it's like, it is I, Thane of Cawdor.
This is the episode where Chakotay visits a planet where everyone on it is just as interesting and expressive as he is.
My God.
You know,
God, went through Google Translate multiple times.
The hardened military guy. You know, also another great sci-fi writer is
Look at the giant flashlight.
It's
Robert
Sorry.
Heinlein.
that flashlight doesn't look like
It's massive and it's right where the scope's supposed to be. It's
It
just
just-
attached there with zip ties.
I remember old flashlights being horribly weak. Like they would barely light up the other end of the room even a little bit. I can't
Yeah.
imagine that helps.
And that after putting forward like D-sized batteries in them. Like they required a ridiculous amount of.
And now they make batteries that light up a whole forest. And they're awesome.
And they're rechargeable through the USB.
Oh, you mean the LEDs?
I
Yeah,
wish they
man.
would nullify this episode, but
They turn like
Oh, this
night to
episode is
day
good, man.
for the whole forest.
This is the second ever appearance of a real gun in Star Trek? Oh wait, no, Picard season 2. But yeah, this
A
is
real gun?
Oh,
No, there's been real guns before.
Not counting
Star Trek.
holodeck.
there are
Oh,
guns
wait,
with
there was
TOS
the-
a lot.
the gangster planet.
Yeah, and the cowboy planet, and the Nazi planet, and the Roman
Thanks for the
Empire.
action.
They all had
There was
guns.
Yeah,
lots
okay.
of guns. In
I kind
Star
of
Trek,
forget
yeah.
that the original
Guns.
series exists
Lots of guns.
sometimes.
And they had the no clip
But
gun in
even-
DS9.
You know,
Even in next gen, they will use guns and they'll just like put lasers coming out of them or whatever.
you know, so as amazing as it is that we watch, you know, these later series, like we haven't touched the original series yet. Like when they came out with Star Trek the movies, right, and 6 movies, and then the original show, they really thought that was going to be it. So those movies are actually like universe continuity unto themselves, and they had no idea that all these shows were going to be coming afterwards. Real Star Trek is just the original series and the 6 movies. Everything else is like
Well,
afterthought.
that's not true at all. That's
No.
not.
That because like when they were coming up with all this stuff, they only intended to like make like in other words, that's why the movies
Only
contradict each other's
intended
canon.
to have the 5-year mission. They only wanted
Yeah.
5 seasons of TV in the 60s.
Right.
And now William Shatner hates his whole life.
But
I'm
TOS
sorry,
is
this is-
amazing. You're right. We don't think of TOS as like central to Star Trek, but TOS is Star Trek, and everything else is, especially the movies. By the way, the movies are like the culmination of TOS's lore. So it's funny though that Ryan says I forgot that TOS exists sometimes. When TOS is the main steak, this is just the potatoes.
But I have to disagree with this being a good episode. Like, just because they speak caveman and have a really obvious ham-fisted metaphor about the futility of conflict.
Chakotay's in his
make-
element here.
That's
He's
like
a
half of
terrorist.
Star Trek. You
Play
can't have Star
terrorist.
Trek without ham-fisted metaphors for the futility of conflict.
Yeah, I mean, there was a TOS episode about that too. You can't keep arming the Vietnamese because then the Russians will arm them, and then we'll arm them, and then they'll arm them more, and then we'll arm them more, and it never ends.
I like the TOS episode where they give an alien society a copy of the U.S. Constitution, and they're like, "This is how a society is supposed to be."
Delivered emphatically by William Shatner, a Canadian.
Yeah. Can you imagine living on an entire planet and like fighting a war for like 1,000 generations or something, and then freaking William Shatner comes out of nowhere with a copy of
God.
the U.S. Constitution, and it's like, this is what you should really do. Ignore the parts about slavery. Or like, we're not even going to give you the abridged version. Don't worry.
So, Matt, you should go watch the episode where, yeah, it's an entire civilization that worships the U.S. Constitution as a holy document.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Old
Not
glory.
humans. They're not humans, but they have an exact copy of the U.S. Constitution and American flags.
Wow.
We
No, they just have the American flags.
I
They
wonder.
don't have the Constitution.
No, they
I
do.
wonder
They
if
have the Constitution in a holy book.
Americans
Okay.
and is like, hoorah, we're the best, or if it was made by people who were making fun of Americans.
Oh, no, it was definitely American propaganda. America's the best.
Oh,
100%.
I see. I see.
I mean, it showed the Yangs and the Coms as equals. It didn't show.
Yeah,
one
the
side.
Yanks fighting the communists.
So these bad guys look like Nausicaans, by the way.
They're Nazicans.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Nazis.
No, it's because they're not.
So they're not Nazis.
Wait, but why did they take all his clothes off?
Because they need.
He doesn't need those thereafter.
They take his moisture if they could. But this
What do you
motif.
think is wearing the dead guy's clothes right now out of like those 8 dudes?
I guess they're for Chakotay. They're just put to the side for now.
So Chakotay gets the clothes of the guy who died right in front of him?
Yeah. I don't think they'll fit, though. Chakotay's a big guy. Oh my god, he actually does. I was joking. Oh my... This episode's so good.
I'll get a negative 30 morale bonus for wearing tainted clothes, though.
Do I know Star Trek or what?
Why is Chakotay just willingly deciding he's like, well, I guess I'll become a guerrilla fighter now because I got
Because
nothing
he already
better
is
to
a
do.
guerrilla fighter.
Those are
They
my.
shot-
He's a terrorist.
I guess I better join up with these people because I saw one of them die.
So Chakotay wears Maquis pips because we had a question before. Is how do you know the Maquis crew from the
Yeah.
Star crew? Okay. He doesn't have dots, like it's because they're provisional Starfleet members. They're not real.
Yes, you can tell people's rank by looking at their collars. Usually
Gotta
1 pip
remember
is
that.
ensign, 2 is lieutenant, 3 is commander, 4 is captain. Chakotay doesn't have
Gotta-
those. He doesn't have dots.
No one has 5 though. There's 4 for captain and then there's 6 for
Hold
admiral.
on.
Admirals have 5.
5 pips with a box around it, I believe, is like Fleet
Fleet
Admiral or
Flag admiral, rear admiral.
5 pips with
I'd rather be a
box.
flying admiral than a
Rear
real air
admiral.
admiral, if you know what I mean.
Images.
Yeah, I don't have to look it up. It's a rear admiral.
No, it's not Rear Admiral. Rear Admiral is like the lowest admiral. The admiral.
I had the Star Trek Encyclopedia when I was a
Fleet
kid.
admiral is 5 pips in a box. Well, it's a trapezoid,
Thank you.
technically.
I said Fleet Admiral at the beginning,
I said Fleet admiral at the same time.
but then you said it was Rear Admiral. Rear Admiral is the lowest. Isn't
You're
it?
allowed to guess multiple guesses. Okay, it's not.
You're
already-
allowed to, but you're the one that's accepted is the
All right, break it up,
is
break
the
it up.
most recent
They're
one.
just pips.
I had the Star Trek Encyclopedia when I was a kid. So
Rear Admiral lower half is 1 pip in a box. Rear Admiral upper half is 2 pips in a box. Vice Admiral is 3. Admiral is 4.
There's going to be a
And
test later,
5 is
Matt.
Fleet Admiral.
But which one is Commodore?
My favorite.
There's like 2 Commodores in all of Star
we
Trek.
don't use Commodore anymore. Like in TNG, we never use it. It was only used in TOS.
And Picard.
Commodore.
Oh, okay. I didn't
They
know.
brought back Commodore? Why?
They brought back Commodore.
By the way,
That should have been the
Commodore-
first hint that she was a fake.
It's a fake.
It's a fake.
Commodore was a really important computer system in the 70s and 80s, before like IBM PCs became the standard.
You
The
know,
Cardis? So, okay,
Matt, you'll
the
be able to
Cardassians are
participate in
lizard
these
Nazis, just so you know.
You'll be able to participate in these
Wait, is
conversations.
there somebody
Corey, you
here
just gotta
who's
watch
never
500 more hours of Star Trek.
No.
who
Okay.
who here has never experienced Star Trek and they're choosing to do it in this stream right now?
Elephant
That's
Man.
me.
That's Rusty. He made a terrible choice.
Mistakes were made.
We're like throwing all the trivia at him, and none of it makes any sense. It's like, did you know in the Bible there's a prostitute that gets cut up into pieces and sent to all the tribes of Israel? And in the Book of Psalms, they bash babies' heads against the walls. That's not really a good introduction to Holy Scripture.
I don't know. So far, it seems like a pretty good introduction.
Okay.
You're getting the
In,
fast track to trivia.
In Wrath of Khan, I think one of my favorite lines in the movie was when Khan first captures Chekhov and the disposable captain, and he starts talking about Captain Kirk having marooned him here, and the guy corrects him, Admiral Kirk, and he goes, Admiral, Admiral, Admiral. Like he's astonished that he's been
That
wasting
William
away on this
Shatner,
planet
of all
where
people, got promoted?
Captain, yeah,
In
Captain Kirk is living it up.
Federation starships have a special deck on them that's full of dolphins, and they help run the ship.
Cetacean Ops.
Yeah, it's in multiple episodes.
But Citation Ops I started this stream, but in this thing, it says
Jordy takes a girl on a date to Cetacean Ops, doesn't he? In an episode.
in this
No.
episode.
No.
He
This
just
guy-
takes.
I thought he did.
No, they take that's I think Captain Picard or Commander Riker offering to show Cetacean Ops to like someone who's
No, I think that was
visiting.
Jordy. I think that
No.
was Jordy.
No, Geordi took his date to the
I am-
Hollow Complex where he just had an overly.
Jordy made his date at the
No, Jordy took a real date to the holographic beach where he summoned. What was it, a mariachi band?
No, it was a
It was
violinist.
some
A violinist to
musician.
just stare at them as they laid on the beach?
I didn't stare at him. He played the violin.
While staring at them, and it was really weird.
And then in a later episode we see, or no, maybe even the same episode we see Jordy going to the holodeck and just creates a girlfriend by accident. And then he
Yeah,
runs into the
accident.
real person.
Yes, that
and she's
3%
based on it, and
variance.
They hate each other.
plausible deniability by accident.
Because Star Trek is like a utopian space future, we rarely see things like private sector mining or mercenaries in the future. But there are
Except
some
in
episodes-
TOS.
what? DS9 touches
We're-
on it too. But the thing is that here, the motif is very much Starship Troopers by Robert Heinlein. And if as a sci-fi fan, you really should read the book because, like, in his future military, Robert Heinlein was a militarist, and he thought, like, in order to become a citizen, you should be in the military. And it's very rough.
Starship Troopers is fascist propaganda.
He was semi-fascist. But here's another time where you see like the hardened space grunts.
What's this dude talking about?
Also, the guy who died like a scene ago, they said that he was left in the glare, so they just cooked him in the sun. That's how the enemy killed him.
Salt.
By the 9 Divines!
I really like these people because they decided to like use
M16.
complicated words like to replace simpler words that were shorter and easier to say. I also like how we'll never see those flashlights get turned on because they'll just
I was
look
just
too
about to say,
dorky.
it's like, hey, dude, is that helping in this night scene?
Yeah.
Wow, look at all this Prime Directive violation.
Like why say nullify when you can just say kill? Like it's a third of the syllables.
Yeah, well, I say
They're
mother
trying to make them seem different. You know, every species
has their
is
own vocabulary.
exactly
Yeah.
is exactly the same. You know, just speaking English. At least they're
Yeah,
It's
it's because
the
like
year after. It's the way after.
the way after is the afterlife.
Yeah.
Ah, Stobo Core.
oh man, it's the second
Japanese.
dude who died right in front of me
Go
today.
take his
Come
clothes. They're
on.
yours now, by right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens.
No, it's not. He's getting shot at, dude. Leave. Get out of there. Does Chakotay even care that he was shot?
I like.
Chakotay just regenerated and like the bullet just like
Oh
popped
wait,
out
no,
of
look
his
at his
skin.
arm. His arm's dangling and hurt. The writers remembered.
But this is a good Chakotay episode. They don't give him too much good stuff.
This is the bad Chakotay episode.
But like you said, he finds people on a planet who are just as emotionless as him.
What are you comparing it to? Like the episode where Chakotay turned into a spooky ghost and possessed people?
This reminds me of Predator, or like,
He's not
Well-
far from the bones of his people this time.
yeah.
There is also there's also the Chakotay episode where he like where he keeps falling in time portals. Where he like gets in the elevator and he's like, I'd like to go to the bathroom, Dr. Elevator, and like the and like the Kazon are in the
Yeah,
elevator
The,
with him
the
because
Time
it's
Portal
5 years
episode's
ago.
amazing. That's one of my favorite Voyager episodes.
No, I like the episode where he has to kiss Seven, and there's like zero chemistry in the kiss.
He like walks into like the kitchen and he's just hoping to get like a coffee because it's like 6 in the morning, but it's like right in the middle of Taco Tuesday and everyone's naked. All right, that
Wait,
part I
what was
made.
that?
That
What-
part
what-
I made up.
Okay.
So
But it sounds like Gene Roddenberry would have written that if he was still alive at this point.
the only time the rest of the cast show up in this episode is like in this scene. So like everybody else had the day off, and they just have to show up for like 10 minutes for like this one shot, and then
Except
it's
Neelix, who has to be there all day.
You know, they shoot these episodes in bulk because they have to make 26 of these things in a year. And so like, you know, they
One
go into
every
the
2 weeks.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so
it's
they
filmed
got
in 2 weeks, and then
and
the
so,
editing. takes 2 weeks.
they shoot multiple episodes at once, and the episodes are out of order. So they're like, "All right, guys, we're in the briefing room today. We are going to shoot 8 briefing room scenes for 4 different episodes." Like,
It's one episode at a time.
like Patrick Stewart would say that basically, like during the Next Generation,
That's why it helps to have uniforms. They don't need to change the costumes.
when Patrick Stewart was was on Next Generation, he was on that show for 7 years, and he didn't ever really watch it, and he never really understood what was going on. And he'll like say this in interviews where you know, because they are doing so much at a time, it was really hard to keep track of what was going on. And then like when he was shooting Star Trek Picard, they're like, so did you watch any of your old performances as Captain Picard before you like co-created and like starred in this TV show? And he's like, well, not really, except there was this one time I was in a hotel and they were showing reruns, and those were kind of good.
Is that the same story where someone walks in on him watching himself on TV and looks at him with pity?
Yeah. Isn't there a couple episodes where Tuvok has the wrong rank and is addressed by the wrong rank?
That's the one where he got demoted for watching himself on TV.
This is really dark. Just visually, I can't see what's happening or who's here. I guess nothing's
Yeah,
happening, so it doesn't matter.
The overly dark cinematography is a metaphor for the dark
Wait, is this the
grittiness of
doctor's
war,
kid?
and you can't tell who's who on the battlefield, just like you can't tell who's who in the TV show.
Is this the doctor's dead child? Or is this a different girl?
Don't ask how the hologram can have children.
It makes sense in context, probably. Now I can't. You brought in someone new, so now I can't even spoil how this ends and the fact that the child's a demon or something.
Everyone
Why
in
would you
Star
do
Trek
this?
is a space ghost until proven otherwise.
It happens a lot. A shocking amount of the time.
Until they made the gritty reboot Star Treks a couple years ago, if you just count people like main characters who leave the show on screen and not in the movies, more characters turn into like gods and space ghosts than characters that die, and it's a ratio of like 3 to 1.
Lower Decks makes a joke about that.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it with the lower text people. We must protect them.
No. There's a episode where there's one guy trying to ascend.
He
The
he
koala.
he like ascends, and he's like in the middle of like doing work, right? And he's like, "Oh, I'm ascending."
No, he was trying to. He was kissing Tendi when he ascended.
And he's like right in the middle of something. He's like, "Oh, right now, dang it."
Did you know that the universe is carried on the back of a giant koala? It's true.
Lower Decks it's running. It is like an adult animated sitcom where Star Trek is like a parody of itself, and that it's it's extremely pandery to gigadweebs like us who talk about
And it
these sorts of
explores some of the
things.
problematic implications of how some episodes end and then we just pretend they never existed.
You know, like the one where they're on like the simulated warfare planet where Captain Kirk shows up,
Obey,
blows up the
Landru!
computer that
No!
was governing the society for hundreds of years, and then they leave without doing anything. Or the Apple, where Captain Kirk shows up and blows up the computer that was governing the society for hundreds of years, and then leaves without saying anything. Or the episode that inspired The Purge, where Captain Kirk shows up to a planet, blows up the computer that was governing it for hundreds of years, and then leaves without saying anything. He hates
It's
computers.
the favorite Star Trek trope. God, for a show so obsessed with technological advancement, they hate computers a lot.
Sometimes he doesn't blow up the computer, sometimes he just talks the
It blows
computer into
itself
like,
up, yeah.
yeah, and blowing itself up with like a logical paradox or something.
There is a distinct lack of evil computers controlling societies in modern Star Trek. It's not real Star Trek.
It's a utopia, so
What's your favorite Captain Kirk computer destruction, guys?
Landru's pretty good.
Yeah?
Especially when they go back in Lower Decks and it's Landru again. It's like, no, we talked to you about this. Stop worshipping the...
I like Nomad because
the algorithm.
Nomad is a perfect character. And Nomad's all like, I am perfect. And Captain Kirk's like, yeah, but you're not
Oh
because
wow.
you made a mistake. And then Nomad's like, "Ah," and then he explodes.
Chakotay goes full Rambo this episode, huh? To me, the cinema is very Predator
God,
with
they are
Arnold
Mexicans.
Schwarzenegger. Because you're in the jungle looking at a camp.
Someone just fart?
Sorry.
That's what it sounded like.
Well, no, since someone farted, I get to use this emoji.
Is that window a green screen? That looks like a green screen.
I think it's a green screen because they put other things in there in other episodes.
No, that's not a green screen. That's a cloth with light shining through it.
Are they in Janeway's office?
Yeah, ready
Yeah.
room.
In the Q episode they put Earth out that window.
Yeah, but that's a ready room, though. By the way,
It's so much cozier than Picard's. Picard just had a fish. She gets like a quadruple wide couch.
Yeah, Picard just had like a fish and like 2 chairs.
And the
like,
fish was named Livingston.
he had a back like replicator room, right? Or a little
Ye-
alcove.
oh, that was a bathroom.
Yeah, it was a closet. I mean, Voyager's bridge itself is far more expensive than TNG's.
Oh
That's
yeah,
right,
another Tuvok fact.
Tuvok
Everything he
fact.
says has to include the word logic.
And Tuvok is a logical person.
Kill the child. You know, I think it would actually be the correct decision in this case for Chakotay to kill the child.
Destroy the child.
Dude, come on. You're considered a terrorist. You're in a war. They're not gonna...
You're in a POW camp. You don't get to talk to the supervisor. It's not Macy's, and you want to talk to the shift supervisor.
Yep, that's how light works. Thank you, child.
Well, it's funny.
It'll be
Batman,
brighter when the sun comes up. Wow.
It is darkest just before the dawn.
I don't think that's even true.
I think like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. it's a little bit colder than like it is at like midnight. Just from my experience of sleeping on the street for a political protest.
Now Chakotay's talking all weird.
He's a part of the people now. So this episode was great filler because we had so much like Borg and trauma and intergalactic politicking.
That's the best compliment we can give this episode. It was great filler.
Yeah. So we had to get some kind of like, individual character gets his own side story for a day. That has nothing to do with the going home for Borg.
So,
Only fast walked?
to the extermination facility, yeah. So did the Kraden and these people like evolve on the same planet?
Like the Skagarans?
I don't think so.
They're fast
To the
walking
extermination camp, dude. Come on. Keep up, kid.
Yeah.
Okay, he just told the child that she's gonna die. Good.
And he's like, I'll see you in hell, granddaughter.
We agreed to set him free, but it was you who failed to specify when or where. Don't make it weird, dude. Just kill him. No, I want his suffering to continue.
Facility. Why can't they just kill him like right here? They've
Well, that wouldn't
clearly
be
demonstrated
civilized.
their ability to do that before.
Oh,
That's
Chakotay,
their
what is
curse.
this?
What?
What you?
You mother was a beast.
like
so
that.
His father just
Chakotay's
gives birth
from
to him
Earth.
without any mother? How's that
He
work?
knows there's way better profanity than motherless.
Are you ready for a
beast.
plot twist? The ambassadors? It's the Nemesis.
What? And we naturally assume the uglier race is going to be the evil one, but it turns
Which is
out,
a little racist.
which is actually it's a problem in animal conservation too. Cute cuddly animals like pandas will never die, but it's that
Even though
like
they're
snail.
worthless.
Wrong. I've
It's-
seen
it's that
several pandas
snail.
die.
No, I'm
What?
saying pandas will never be extinct because they're so cute and cuddly that like.
Are you
we'll
sure?
always
Because
keep-
it seems like pandas are trying really hard to go extinct.
Yeah, but we can save their semen in like cryogenesis and like clone them 100 years from now. But like animals like snails and
Or
insects,
like hundreds of years in the future, we'll be like unbottling panda semen, and we're like, good thing we saved this.
That's the
now
good
that we-
stuff.
hey, like
And
that's
then
what
they
we
like
Crack
drink
open
it
the
and
cold
give
one.
birth to a panda.
it's what our brains are for.
Crack open a
solving-
cold one with the boys.
Cracking open a boy with the cold ones.
Yeah, I've seen that
Cracking
picture.
open a cold one from the boys.
But that's the we get to use our noggin to solve very complicated problems that we create, to be fair. But the thing is that animals like snails and insects, which aren't so furry and have faces like ours, we'll let them go extinct, and we're not going to save their DNA for the future and put it on the moon or whatnot.
Ryan, how long until we get the one where Stefan has to fight Dwayne the Rock Johnson?
That's like season 6,
Season 5?
season 5. It's a while.
It might be season 6. I just watched it.
Sunkatsu.
Like wrestling was all the rage in the 90s, like Vince McMahon, $billion empires.
Sunkatsu season 6 episode 15. So like
Wrestling
4 months,
Season
5
6,
months,
episode
6 months,
15.
a while.
Oh boy.
Wrestling worked
Ryan, we've been
A
doing these
while.
watch longs for a long time, haven't
Not
we?
really. Just since
Yeah.
the pandemic.
When did you start these?
Let me
August.
look it up.
August 2020.
Early
Remember the good old
pandemic
days
times,
when
right?
we used to do them on Saturday and Sunday, and I had a
And we
reason to
watched-
wake up on Saturday.
And we watched good TV shows.
Yeah, we had good TV
Okay.
shows.
Episode 1 was August 1st, 2020.
Yeah, I didn't have to look
So
it up.
not as early a pandemic as I thought.
It's still just over 2 years we've been doing this.
Yeah.
Just 2 years.
Well, I've been
We-
doing this.
Ryan, did you ever do the math to see how long it would take to go through the whole franchise?
Yeah, but then I forgot.
It's 700 hours, give or take.
I am your father.
I am Lieutenant Duvok. This is the comedy hour of this episode.
Nullify
I
him.
pretend to be Tuvok. I've fallen for this one before.
You can tell it's Tuvok just by "I intend no deception, Commander." Just his choice of words.
Oh. What did they... Is this actually like mental manipulation physically? Did they mess with his brain? How is he making him hallucinate?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a little Tim Russ in there.
It might be drugs, maybe.
I wonder if that's actually Tim Russ under the makeup.
It looks like his eyes.
Yeah, it looks like Chakotay, or it looks like Tuvok. He is not a scientist, and he is killer was his job.
Literally a terrorist, Tuvok. Come on.
Killing was his whole thing. You had a whole freaking deal with him about how he kept killing people. He didn't
Freedom
like that.
fighting involves smuggling supplies, saving people. It's not always killing people.
But he was the killing people guy.
Not really.
And that was his primary job responsibility.
He had a little ship with like 5 people on it, and all of them were working for some intelligence agency or the other.
That ship was designed to kill people.
Chakotay, it's Tuvok. Like,
Yeah.
Vulcans
what are you
can't
doing?
lie, except for when they do.
Which is constantly.
But yeah, ugly aliens are sometimes the good guys.
Like
Are you calling
Chakotay?
Tuvok ugly?
No, I was calling the Nausicaan, not Nausicaans, ugly.
The Notsikins.
I
That
made
was the
that
joke,
joke
yes.
20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Well, use your side senses better. So this is why I think it would have been better for Chakotay if he murdered the child, because then he would have known it was a fake.
Oh, the entire
It's a fake.
You're
I
brightly
forgot that this episode just kind of turns into a hot mess at the end.
You've been saying it was a hot mess the whole time.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah,
time.
but this is like a hot, messy mess.
A hotter mess?
They pulled like the ill-advised double twist that was completely unnecessary.
I don't know what you have against this episode. I thought it was fine.
I think Britney Spears had an album called Hot Mess, right? So
Sure.
psychotropic. So they gave him drugs, mushrooms, LSD, um,
A turnip?
DMT.
Turnip Boy commits a Prime Directive violation?
A turnip is a spiritual animal now. Spirit guide.
This whole thing is literally like it was all a dream. You were
Except
on
for the
drugs,
last scene.
Except for
That
the
part was
part-
real.
on
Except for the part where
drugs
you're trying to kill
whole
people
time.
for no reason. That's not a
Maybe
dream.
Chakotay is still being brainwashed, and like he's gonna.
It's interesting because Carl Jung, preeminent psychologist of the 20th century, student of Sigmund Freud, he writes that look, we can say dreams aren't real, but if you wake up from a bad dream and then you have like a visceral reaction to somebody in the dream, then for all practical purposes, the dream was real because it had a psychic effect on you.
I don't know if that's how reality works.
Jung was a very profound thinker.
Does this mean Commander Chakotay and Neelix are real?
Because you have dreams about them. See, they're perfectly nice. Don't look at the fangs on their face.
Can Nemesis be used
It's like
as
It's like a Walmart brand Predator.
pluralize that?
Yeah, it's
Nemesis.
Predator plus Nausicans.
Nemesis is.
Nausicaan Predator.
Nemesi.
Nemesis.
Walmart brand Predator.
Nemesis. Enemies, that's how you say it. Enemies.
Nematodes?
There you go. There's the moral of the episode. I wish it was easy to stop hating as it is to start. There you go. Whole moral.
There
That's the
we
whole
go.
episode. Done.
There we go. Thank you, Ryan. It's not a hot mess. It's a profound moral arc.
All right. So we're slowly working on resolving Seven's trauma. We've kind of forgotten about B'Elanna's trauma, but we'll get back to it. And we gave Chakotay a little bit more trauma, so that's fun. What are we doing next week? Revulsion? What's Revulsion? I have to
Is that
Google
what
it.
Tess feels for Neelix?
I wish. Voyager Revulsion. Oh, that's the one where there's the insane hologram who murders the crew and it's a horror episode.
Again?
Yeah, again.
And then we have the Raven, which is the best episode about dreams since
It has Gimli in it again.
since Data's Gimli from.
No, Data's not Gimli. What do you mean?
No, remember Data has the episode about the anchor, the anvil and the hammer and the bird.
Yeah.
Brandon Braga. So this is kind of like Seven's version of that.
Remember the
Yeah,
episode
Seven
where
somehow finds her
everyone's
crashed ship.
having like nightmares about you know, I forgot what the nightmare's about, but then they like send Troy in there and she's like floating in space.
Where are
And
you?
yeah, she's like, where are you?
That's
Turns out they just wanted hydrogen.
Night Terrors or something.
Yeah. And
And
then
then we
there's the other episode where everyone's having nightmares, and that's because they're getting covertly experimented on. And then there's the other episode where everyone's getting covertly experimented on, but they don't get nightmares.
Well, that's Scientific Method, where they're being covertly tested on, right?
So yes. Okay, Revulsion, evil hologram horror episode, The Raven, where very convenient plot points to explore Seven's backstory a little bit. And Scientific Method, where it's a whole metaphor for animal testing.
There
That's the whole
was
thing.
It's really unlikely that they ran into Seven of Nine's ship.
Yeah,
in
there's no
all
way,
of
but don't worry about it.
It's slightly less. It's slightly more likely though than that one time they ran into like the pickup truck that was floating in the middle of space.
We're detecting iron oxide.
Because we all know
Yeah,
that rust
that was
is something that only exists on Earth.
just it's Star Trek, man. It's weird. Don't worry about it.
Right,
But yeah, that's
Matt,
next week.
what did you think of your first experience with Star Trek?
Well, hey, to be fair, actually, no, I remember. I think I had watched a Star Trek episode with you at the beginning of what is it? At the beginning of the year last year. But this definitely reminded me, or this definitely caught me up to speed, I think, on how
sure?
weird Star Trek can be.
And
Oh,
then you
okay.
can come back.
That is an
Next
important
week.
characteristic. Yes.
Yes.
Star
And then
Trek's
you'll come
crazy.
back you'll just keep watching, and then you'll end up like the decrepit husks you see before you today.
Oh, joy.
You're going to be
Talk
quoting
about-
what type of shuttle it is and whether you've seen a
us.
set before.
Yeah, we'll talk about how the inconsistent usage of tachyon emissions.
Oh, joy.
How many characters
Yeah.
does Von Armstrong play?
Yeah. What is a Leola root?
It's
Yeah.
ginger, painted with a little bit of gold. Gold-colored paint.
And then we'll be saying like, oh yeah, this background actor was actually in 3 episodes and Gattaca. And we know their first and last names.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Robo can actually do that, right?
What's that?
You're the one who can actually pick out all the background or not the back, but like all of the guest stars and stuff, right?
I'm pretty good at it, but I don't know if I'm the best.
There's someone who did it who was here when we were watching TNG, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's Bashir Manson. He was also the Klingon lieutenant who we see
Yeah, I'll-
drinking
you know-
coffee."
I pick out people like the reoccurring little bit parts like Tony Todd, being Kern, and also he's old Jake Sisko, and he's got
He's
a whole
not
bunch of
real
other
Jake
roles.
Sisko, though, because he doesn't have the sweater.
Have we had the Star Trek Voyager episode with the Prince of Jordan in it?
Maybe
I don't remember
thought that was
because
an
it's such
early
a minor
episode,
role.
actually. Oh
Doesn't do
no!
anything.
I think isn't he on the episode where Janeway takes all the forgotten the lost sheep? Oh, Good Shepherd. Good Shepherd is the name of the episode. I think he's on Good Shepherd, and we haven't had it yet.
I'm gonna Google
Wait,
it.
what's the episode where Janeway takes all the lost sheep?
Good Shepherd. Come on.
Is that literal?
Well, thank you all for introducing me to this. I do have to get going, but yeah, I
Okay.
will hopefully talk to y'all next week.
Good. One of us.
Good.
Bye.
That
So-
was not. That was
Abdullah
not the
bin
episode.
Al
The episode-
Hussein was in the episode Investigations from season 2.
Right, season 2. So who's the guy in Good Shepherd who has like 2 lines with Janeway? Who also looks vaguely Jordanian.
What?
Maybe
Probably
I'm-
could go
What does that mean?
Let's see.
I can Google guest stars. Guest stars Jay Underwood, Michael Rees, and Kimball Jemison. But Peter's an engineer? No. I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, no worries. I think it was actually Tom Morello. There you go. It was another guest star, like a celebrity guest star
Okay.
who snuck in. I knew it was somebody important.
Alright, I got stuff to do. You guys go do whatever. I'm gonna go and do
I gotta-
other stuff. And
Are you ending? Is the stream over? Did you already
the
end it?
stream is ending in 3,